explained that he had been ill most of his life, but was only properly diagnosed after going to the hospital when he began to feel especially sick 5 years ago. After getting a full blood workup, doctors said he had stage 4 cancer, but 8 biopsies and several invasive surgeries later, it was actually determined that Typo was, quote, aging differently due to an issue with his telomeres. Telomeres are protective structures on the ends of chromosomes that help prevent them from unraveling or getting entwined with each other. Think of them like the caps on the end of your shoelaces, which, Jeeves, are called?
Aglets.
Wow,
look at Jeeves.
When you're born, your telomeres are long. They gradually shorten as you age. However, Typo's telomeres are extremely short despite being in his early 30s, leading to a whole host of medical issues for him. According to Typo, quote, your cells either need to stop dividing or they die. In fact, Typo didn't have a detectable telomere on his chromosomes at one point. For now, doctors are working to determine whether Typo's condition is an autoimmune disease or a telomere biology disorder. But in the interim, the National Institute of Health has given him the opportunity to name it. Now, at first, Typo thought ligma was the perfect fit, but worried that it was too low effort.
Yeah.
The doctor he initially spoke to about it didn't get the joke. Suggestions came flooding in from the chat, which included everything from BOFA, Shrek swamp disease, and the Benjamin Button cancer disease, which I really like the BBC there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go. It's Benjamin Button. It's the it's sadly some of the diseases are named after people, but
that's right.
Benjamin Button.
Have you ever had ligma?
I've never had ligma. I don't think.
Do you want ligma?
Is this these nuts?
It is, yes.
Benjamin Button, by the way, really good movie.
I've never seen it. It's a weird movie that you swear by.
Yeah. I'm a big David Fincher guy, though.
Yeah. Bofa. You've had Bofa, right?
That is trash brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
You like Wendy's?
Seattle and Cincinnati, 5:40 tonight on FS1. Kansas City and the Yankees tonight at 6 o'clock as you continue to find your baseball on different sources all throughout the place on Prime Network there. All right, we're getting ready to move into the off-season. We found out yesterday our SEC Media Days officially now set July 14th through the 17th in Atlanta, as we thought it would be. July 15th, the All-Star game in Atlanta. We also found out the days that teams will be speaking, coaches and players. Here's the kickoff schedule. Kickoff Media Days in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame. And if you're looking for some storylines, how about LSU right out of the gate, Lane Kiffin right out of the gate on day number 1, Auburn and Hugh Freeze and Kirby Smart, and Tennessee and Texas on a big, massive Tuesday.
That is a big Tuesday.
That is a big Tuesday, and it's a little different schedule for Auburn. They've been last day a lot. This is moving up in the schedule a bit for them.
My spray tan will be broken in by Tuesday.
Yeah, you'll be looking good.
On Wednesday, as LT starts to fade, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi State, and Oklahoma.
That seems like that is Alabama's permanent spot, doesn't it, that Wednesday?
That Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then on the final day, you got Arkansas, Kentucky, Missouri, and Texas A&M.
Not a
or
ton
the
of storyline.
getaway day there. So let's just go.
We can bolt early, can't we?
The first thing up the hole.
One day at a time. Let's rate these.
Okay.
Best chance of the SEC.
Message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts. It's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
All right, Auburn fans, I want you to become a member of thebarnauburn.com and join in on the fun. Whether it's recruiting discussions, off-season chatter, or the latest Auburn athletics news, we've got it all. Get $25 off your annual subscription when you sign up for your account at thebarnauburn.com today. War Eagle.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com. Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, I got a story so good that I almost am going to lead with it. We have a football rule change, but in the first segment, I'm going to get to a off the beaten path only in the SEC story. If that's okay with you guys.
I love those,
I usually like to keep it very newsy in the first segment to get all our headlines in before we get off the beaten path. But one is just, it's an only in the SEC moment that's coming your way. If this was the SEC network, this would be one of the stories we would do all the time, like only in the SEC.
I would rather have that than the groundbreaking news to start the show.
Yeah,
So I like this.
I understand. But we got to start with a rule change that could be opening up a handful of other problems. But on the surface, I like it. The NCAA has accepted and passed a rule today in college football that will try to curb the fake injuries that slow down a college football game. If you have an injury that requires the medical staff to come out onto the field, stopping play.
After the ball's been spotted.
That's right. Okay, so if you are injured and the medical staff comes out, if the ball is spotted, you're charged a timeout now. If you don't have a timeout, it is a 5-yard delay of game penalty. Now, if the injury happens before the ball is spotted, it's all fair game still. The stoppage of play, normal injury rules. The question I was going to get to, as Brown brings it up, now if we just kick the can down the road, are we now chasing our tail to try to fake an injury before the ball is spotted? How quickly does the ball get spotted? Brownie, you're an official guy. How quickly is the ball spotted? What's the official terminology of spotted?
And I think that's the clarification I want to get, and I'll try to get it before the show's over. I think the way this rule would work best is if Lance catches a pass, he's down on the 15, they run in, we got a first down, so we move the chains. So I'm going to do all the signals. First down, we're going to move the chains.
By the way, you don't have a lot of time before the ball is spotted.
That's right.
To fake an injury.
Ball is spotted, then they do this right here. They do they blow the whistle and drop the arm, and that's when we start the play clock in college. In the NFL, it just immediately starts, but in college, that's when we start the play clock. To me, that should be the designated difference here.
Well, I thought we don't automatically start the play clock now in college.
Don't think so.
Yeah.
Don't think so.
I think this is a swing and a miss. I think we came up with the best way they could do this, and that is said player that's got an injury, faking an injury, whatever it is, they've got to miss the remainder of that drive.
Yeah, but we could almost have the goons of hockey, the designated injured player that could go out there and stop a play.
No, but normally it's in rhythm. It's because they can't substitute, right?
Yeah. I disagree with Lance. I think this is a good step in the right direction.
It's a step in the right direction. I don't know if it's – because, now the problem is if you do have 2 or 3 injured guys on one drive, probably doesn't happen, but now you've evaporated every time out.
Well, yeah, but if they're in play injuries, this is trying to stop the. All right, ball spotted on the 15. I'm looking at the sidelines, and they're doing the go down, go down, go down.
That's running down, and he goes.
If the ball's been spotted, that's going to be a timeout. But now, if I'm a defender and I'm going after the quarterback, and I feel a tweak in my hamstring, and I'm down, the quarterback throws, and I'm still down on the ground, that's not going to cost you a timeout.
It should not. No.
That guy is down on the ground. So
this is the obvious.
I really don't think you could fake an injury in that time. I don't think a coach could communicate to a player to fake an injury in the time between play happens, blown dead, ball is spotted.
I don't know.
That's a quick time.
It could be, a signal like this, and number 11 on the field is the one that goes down. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know how you're going to be super organized to pull that one off.
Yeah.
Or are the players just going to have Lance a sixth sense where, boy, I tell you what, I probably need to go down right here because our defense.
The problem is you have 2 or 3 dropping, and then it's so obvious.
Exactly.
You would only have to have one designated. At least we are moving in the right direction. There is nothing worse than watching a game and knowing, and especially if you're on the other side of it, whether you got money on the other side, it's your team, and there are guys that are just dropping and faking injuries, to slow down what the offense is doing.
I don't like the fake injuries. It's not part of the game. I see where this is going to be a problem. I don't know if it's reviewable because God knows we don't need to stop play for reviews. That's a win for the other team that's faking the injury at that point. But it is a step in the right direction. It will go into play, and when we go week 0 in 128 days, this will be part of college football.
Yep.
It's not waiting to be passed. It has been passed today.
I'm willing to wait and see how this plays out and see if it's.
It can only be better.
I agree with you. I don't see how it could be any worse than what we've got. I mean, if at least you're addressing it in some aspect, and you may have to increase the penalty at some point. I don't know. We've got other college football breaking news.
Oh, what is that?
And I'm saddened by this one. Nobody's died. I'm saddened by this one, but it is breaking news. ESPN is announcing that after 38 years, Lee Corso is retiring.
Oh, so
he'll have one final college game day, week 1, where he'll put on the mascot head, and that'll be his last game day ever.
Wow.
Where is that game day? Because I thought
I don't
Iowa State and Kansas State were playing over.
That's week 0.
Yeah, no,
so
week 1.
I would imagine he doesn't make that trip.
So that's going to be Texas, Ohio State. He'll put on Brutus one more time.
That was the first one.
Yep.
But it's sad, man. But I'm glad he's at least getting a goodbye. I mean, I don't want to be morbid, but if Coach Corso's had plenty of health issues. And
there's more off-season than in-season.
That's
so,
right.
I mean, you play percentages the older you get.
Yeah. And I would hate for it to end that way. At least
Yeah.
he gets to say his goodbye to college football. I know people, because I see it every Saturday, like, boy, it's getting painful to watch Corso. It's getting painful to watch Corso. And I get it's tough for him to get his words out sometimes, keep his train of thought sometimes. But I've always loved Lee Corso because the whole reason I'm sitting there watching that segment is I love college football. And I'm planted on my couch on a Saturday morning, ready to stay on my couch a whole Saturday morning. And Lee Corso loves it every bit as much as I do, if not more. Well, that's why I like Lee Corso.
He had an incredible arc because you guys remember in the early 90s, he was kind of a villain. Like there were a lot of fan bases because, he was really outspoken.
Well, we used to chant, or not me, but I'd be at games and fans would really hope that Corso would not pick.
Yeah.
Don't put our head on because you put our mascot head on, we're going to lose because he had a streak there. If Corso picked you, you're going to lose. And I think that was in the 90s.
Well, there was
2000.
that, but I also remember, he was outspoken on, like, there was no way Alabama could beat that Miami team that, we got into that discussion the other day and how amazing Bill Oliver's defense was that night. But I remember Corso was like, Alabama's got no shot at winning this game. And I remember how, beat up Alabama fans were with Lee Corso. And my point was going to be, he went from that really opinionated guy to the lovable guy. Like, I don't know anybody that didn't like Lee Corso at the end of his career.
Yeah. And to me, it is the start of my college football Saturday when he does his little bit. And sometimes Herb Street jumps in with him and he puts on the Notre Dame, Irish costume or the Bevo head or Big Al's head or whatever he does. Shoot the Boomer Sooner gun in the air. That's the start. That is the official kickoff of college football Saturday for me. That's when I know it's game time.
It is one of those things that we will not be able to replace.
Nope.
I mean, there's nobody else who can do that.
And don't try it.
That's exactly right. So we can't do that. And this is now breaking news. I'm getting an ESPN alert from it. Everybody's reacting to it. And make sure I'm right. Week 1 college football, that is Texas and Ohio State, right?
It
Are
is.
you sure? I thought that was week 2.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you to check right here
you
because
look?
I know Danny Cannell quickly is saying, do the right thing, Alabama, Florida State, Tallahassee. Let that be your last one, Corso, because he played it. He did play at Florida State.
That's true.
And that one, by the way, will be in the ESPN game. So
yeah, Texas is at Ohio State week 1.
Yeah.
Now again, they haven't shied away from this. That'll be a big noon kick, and I like the fact that his first headgear. This kind of feels like the reason they're doing this is because his first headgear was the Brutus headgear, and they've made a big deal about that. I mean, you're almost forced to pick Ohio State. What if he thinks Texas is going to win, right?
Yeah, you take Texas. It's his last hurrah.
I mean, what if he really, in his heart of hearts, thinks Texas is going to win? But they're like, "Well, Coach, we came here because it's your first headgear pick."
but wasn't his first game day Florida State Notre Dame?
I think that was the first one out of Bristol. Yeah, they used to do it from Bristol.
And that was 1993.
Yeah, so he didn't really put the the headgear on.
No, that was a late development.
Yeah,
later development.
Later into the process. Because I think he put out a hat or something inside the building there on the Notre Dame campus, if I remember correctly. And I think I've seen that clip 1,000 times in my life, and I can't remember why. But I think that was Florida State Notre Dame was their first
That was.
out of
Yep.
studio game day.
Yep. And they didn't know how big it would eventually be. It's funny looking back on it. They're just, like you said, it looks like they're inside some high school gym. There's like a trophy case behind them.
Yeah, and like
20 people.
Yeah, 50 people are in the lobby making a lot more noise than they probably should.
That's right.
Trying to be quiet but talking.
It is pretty crazy, also just how college game day evolved. Because, back when, you're talking the 90s, I mean, there was a lot of college football fans, but not even close to what it is now. And, for them to roll this thing out, I would guarantee ESPN never thought it would have the success it had.
Oh, no. And the fact that the show grew to what it grew, the audience it gets. I mean, the pregame shows in the NFL, I feel like, are dying off.
Oh, yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah.
But, if you would have – back in the 90s, you bet on Major League Baseball, the NBA, or college football, everybody would have said college football's got no shot against the NBA or Major League Baseball.
100%. And now we're celebrating, 38-year career of Lee Corso just on college game day. What a chapter. And we'll revisit that a little bit later on in the show. Maybe some of our Corso's favorite moments. But thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach, for a great ride as the man who kicked off our college football Saturdays for 38 incredible years, as the college game day folks are saying, multiple generations. Coach has been the face of our Saturday mornings and the sport we love. Our friend, our coach, our heart. LC, you will forever be a college game day legend. One more time, week 1, likely in Columbus for Texas and Ohio State. One last headgear for Lee Corso there. Show today being brought to you by our friends at A+. Brownie, tell us about A+.
Yeah, you can go to our guy Brad Bell when it comes time to remodel your home. I'm going to tell you what he specializes in, but this is not to say it's all he does. It's just his specialty. With our guy Brad Bell, it is master bath, master bedroom closets, and kitchens. Those are his specialties. And the reason that's important is you spend a lot of time in those rooms, and when you go to sell your house, those are the rooms that really pop. For potential buyers. You can see more at alabamabathremodels.com. That's alabamabathremodels.com. Brad Bell is his name. 205-422-1758. That's 205-422-1758. That's the number to call to get him to come out and give you a quote on your job. I'll tell you this. You see a lot of these commercials for one-day bathroom remodels. Brad challenged me. He's like, hey, I'm going to encourage you to go get a quote from them. 2 things you're going to find. Number 1, my quote's going to be better than theirs. It constantly is. And number 2, you're going to see that they often just throw a shower up over his existing shower, which is disgusting, honestly. You can see more before and afters and book Brad for your job. alabamabathremodels.com. That is alabamabathremodels.com, or call Brad, 205-422-1758.
Beautiful spring weather out there. You want to get out. You want to play a little golf like these guys. You don't want to get on the roof and clean the dangerous, dirty gutters. I was talking to our friend Chris Stewart this morning. He's got an incredible special for you right now. You just got to mention the next round. Gutter Cap is that patented aluminum cover system, allows water inside but keeps out unwanted debris to eliminate gutter clogs. You will never, ever clean the gutters again. He's been in business for 22 years, thousands of satisfied customers, no pressure, no BS approach, special discounted price for mentioning the next round, lifetime warranty on clog-free performance, free estimates, general liability, workers' compensation insurance. C-Stu, best in the business. Let him come out and give you the absolutely free estimate, 205-823-2212. That's 205-823-2212. Remember, you get on the roof, you slip, you fall, you snap the neck, and die. You're no good to the wife or kids. Cap it, don't snap it. For more information, guttercapbirmingham.com.
Okay, listen, we've given you a rule change and then a legend retiring. All college football news here, but this is an only in the SEC moment here. Pastors go around the world trying to spread the good news.
That's right.
And sometimes they go into harm's way with their Bibles to preach. One such pastor is Josh Sullivan from Maryville, Tennessee, just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. And he was kidnapped recently by people who did not want the good words being spread around South Africa. And, the kidnappers figured they could get some money from a church or the Americans if they kidnapped this guy. So he was kidnapped, and this past Tuesday he was rescued and reunited with his family after being kidnapped at gunpoint and held for almost a week in South Africa. The rescue involved a shootout that killed 3 kidnappers but left the pastor Sullivan unharmed. After being safely rescued, Sullivan was taken to see his family, and he then began touching base with some folks back in East Tennessee and Maryville. At Fellowship Baptist Church, the pastor let him know that Nico Iamaleava had hit the transfer portal.
Nico needs saving. By the way, there's a special layer in hell for somebody that takes hostage.
Yeah. Pastor?
Yeah, pastor,
Right.
missionary or whatever, and tries to shake down a church to get a ransom.
Well, they got to meet the judge really, really quickly, apparently, upon the
I
rescue.
love this. So what are his thoughts on Nico?
He said, I hate to tell you this, but I figured you'd be interested. Did you hear any by chance that Nico has left Tennessee? Hours after his release. It's all he could talk about. And he was distraught, almost brought to tears.
How long was I a captive?
If Josh Heupel is listening to me or the athletic director, Danny White, let's get this man in to see the team. Let's let the pastor talk to the T. He's all about the power T, is what they're saying about the pastor. He needs to come and talk to the team before a game this year. But he was upset that Nico had hit the portal moments after being rescued in a shootout.
You know who's more upset? Nico's
family.
I mean, Nico has taken so much bad PR, and a lot of this is probably well-deserved. But, it looked like for a second he had signed with UCLA, and now it's just like UCLA's looking for a lot less money. So you're going to go to a 5-7 now and play for UCLA, and you're probably going to be fighting for a bowl berth, making less money, and you would have an opportunity to win a championship at Tennessee.
But it's not about the money. It's about the offense, according to Colin Cowherd. And in case you weren't paying attention last year, Tennessee's offense finished 15th nationally, total offense. Was UCLA's above that or below that, do you think?
I would think it
below.
Below?
I would say it was in the bottom 15, possibly.
It was 117th, Lance.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your leading receiver had 506 yards. This is interesting. Your leading rusher had 506 yards.
Well, they were balanced. Yeah. At least they had balance.
But don't slip past what Brownie was touching on there. Colin Cowherd, who is the first to report that this UCLA deal, Colin made it sound like it was a done deal. Not done yet. But he was also giving out the side of the family and the representation that they were not happy with Tennessee's offense, Josh Heupel's offense. They were not happy with the talent that they were surrounding Nico with on the offensive line and the wide receiver position. By the way, if you check Tennessee's recruiting, 5-star wide receiver coming into the class, offensive line, I think set a record for rushing touchdowns with Dylan last year.
I mean, Dylan Sampson was one of the best running backs in all of college football 3 years ago, or just 2 years removed. They had arguably the best group of wide receivers in football.
I don't think you can run the ball that successfully in the Southeastern Conference without a quality offensive line. You?
No, not at all.
It'd be difficult.
Yeah.
You know what? I bet on the other side, Heupel's like, I'm disappointed in Nico and all of the open receivers he overthrew.
Well, he did. In that Alabama game, which is the only time I saw Nico play in person, when they got to the half, in Alabama, I want to say Alabama was leading 14-9.
They were leading at half.
Alabama was leading at the half, and the press box, there is normal press box, there is heaven, and somewhere between normal press box and heaven is the one at Neyland Stadium. Like, it's like I'm the sky cam. I'm looking straight down. I mean, it's high up.
You
there.
wear an air tank, right?
Oh, it is high.
God save your seat when you go
You're
get a
looking
Coke.
down. I mean, sometimes there's cloud cover between you and the field. But you can see from that press box specifically better than any other press box I've ever been in, wide open receivers all day long. And in the first half, I kept saying to myself, Alabama's lucky that this thing is not 35-14.
You think Peyton Manning would have hit those guys?
Yeah, wide open. And oftentimes he saw them and just couldn't get the ball to them. So the whole complaint about the Heupel offense makes no sense.
Well, and correct me if I am wrong about this, please. I'm being genuine. I'm not just saying that as a throwaway line. Correct me if I'm wrong. Josh Heupel's had 2 quarterbacks before him, both of whom got drafted.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton.
And I wouldn't call either one of those when they came to Tennessee like, oh, those guys are going to get drafted.
No, Joe Milton had the hype. I mean, we even had the hype. People were trying to sell us once Hendon Hooker was on to Detroit that Joe Milton, with this incredible 80-yard cannon that he's got, he's able to do backflips in practice, that he was going to be, the next coming, and it just never worked out. But Hendon Hooker, I mean, that's one of the, top 10 quarterbacks over the last 10 years in SEC play when you're just looking at pure production.
Ended that streak for Tennessee and got drafted. I mean, he got Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker drafted with that offense.
And people, because I saw this yesterday, like, well, he wants to go to UCLA because Heupel doesn't develop quarterbacks. I'm like, well, A, how do you know Deshaun Foster does?
Yeah.
This guy is year 2
He's
as a
had
head
one
coach.
in Ethan Garbers.
Yeah, this is year 2 as a head coach. And B, are you kidding? I mean, I don't think Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker are like lock NFL guys, and both those guys got drafted. I think Hooker was like 3rd or 4th round. I know Milton was like 6th round, I think.
And you got to give Heupel a little credit for Dylan Gabriel too, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I don't know how you guys are on presidential debates.
Yeah, usually pretty boring.
Yeah.
I watch them.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, it'll heat up a little bit.
Yeah.
They got a little bit more interesting with Donald Trump.
If you could have Heupel in Tennessee on one side, Nico and his family and representation on the other side,
I would watch it.
I mean, I would just love to know what's going on here, because Nico had an opportunity. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, Clay Travis was saying there are some people, and I don't think Clay just made this up.
But I haven't found those people
No, I
yet.
haven't. But, there's some people that believe he could be a top 5 guy if everything goes right this season. So you go from possibly being a first-round guy, winning 10 or 11 games, getting back to a college football playoff, and making, $2.5 million to making maybe half of that, maybe making a bowl, and maybe not even getting drafted.
Yeah.
Like, none of it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't figure it out.
We will keep you updated on the portal and ask the question later on, who really is shopping in the SEC? Is Alabama and Auburn really interested in this portal? Are there really anybody out there that can be game changers? But we've gone over 700 players just in the spring portal now. A little bit more active than I think you expected it to be, Brownie, but I don't know what you get with this spring portal quality-wise. But
that's the thing.
I've got one guy who I think Alabama and Auburn fans would definitely want, helped out by the fact that he's visiting Ohio State and Georgia. So we'll talk about that coming up a little bit later on. One more thing to get to in this segment. Show today being brought to you by our buddy Alexander Shunnarah, trial attorneys. Alexander Shunnarah built his legacy as a local guy right here in Alabama.
And that's still where you find him. He is a Birmingham guy, and he is right in the heart of Alabama, still working for you. 24 years. They've grown to more than 150 lawyers, supported by 500 dedicated team members. Their elite trial lawyers have recovered more than $2 billion, maintaining Alexander's core values of integrity, mastery, passion, and success. They handle not just personal injury claims now, but claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' compensation, and a host of other claims. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. Shunnarah.com. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Shunnarah.com.
And our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living, man, they're there to help me lose weight. They've done that. They can do the same for you. My goodness, if Jim can do it, surely you can do it too. Aplanforme.com. Aplanforme.com is their website. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. First off, let me tell you, whatever way you think you can lose weight, they've got it for you there. In injection therapy, meal replacements, just a little help on a plan to eat better, what to eat. They do all of that and everything in between. You get a free consultation with Leslie and her board-certified team to sort of find a plan that you will be comfortable with. And listen, if you're not comfortable with it, they can switch to a different plan. If you're not comfortable doing it at all, there's no contract and there's no sign-up fee. So you're not tied into something for a year, 2 years, 3 years. You can get more details at aplanforme.com. Aplanforme.com. Again, that first consultation is free with Leslie and her board-certified team at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. All right. Is it possible in this day and age for a major program in college basketball to lose its entire roster in 1 year?
That's
every single person.
13, 14 people.
14 people in this case.
I think that would...
I would think one of the 14 would be like, dang, I might get some playing time now if I stick around. Maybe, I guess maybe you're not invited to
Yeah,
stick
I mean,
around
I
at that
don't
point.
say
I don't
this.
know.
I don't say this lightly, but Marshall didn't lose their entire team when the plane went down.
That is true.
That is, I mean,
That is
true.
true. That is true.
That is
Yes.
true.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost
Yeah.
impossible.
I don't know how you could do this.
And this is a program.
Coaching change. Coaching change, I could see it.
I'm not talking like, no offense to Colorado State or
Yeah.
San Francisco or South Alabama. I think this team won a national championship in 2021.
I mean, what's so difficult is people have girlfriends on campus.
Yeah.
People are legacies. I mean, people are tied to certain things. I mean, to have everybody have the ability to uproot and leave. Now, I'm fascinated that this is a national championship program.
Who won it in 2021? Am I right? Was that Baylor?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the Baylor team photo mocked up of who's coming back this upcoming year. This is the 2024-2025 Baylor men's basketball team.
I see nothing but red X's.
Well, I think Scott Drew's probably okay with it because they weren't any good. But
They
They
lost
made the tournament.
I know, but they weren't for his standards.
I don't disagree with it.
To your point, of that 14, only one is in the NBA draft. 4 ran out of eligibility. 9 have hit the transfer portal. So
are you guys? I mean,
there's not one guy from Baylor coming back. Not one.
no, they were 10-10 in conference in what people believe was kind of a weak Big 12 until you saw what Houston and Texas Tech actually did in the tournament. But I mean, this is shocking to me. I think what it shows you is I think we all believe Baylor's got some money. I just don't know what the collective and the NIL situation is because he went from having incredible transfers that would come in 2021 and winning a championship to really not having anybody that was of any substance that was like big-time contributors that came in. I mean, his best player left and went to Houston and L.J. Cryer.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm just wondering, like, how bad is the NIL commitment right now for Baylor basketball?
Their big guard left, and he's going to BYU to be.
We know they're spending.
and I think he's getting $3 million to leave
But
Baylor.
serious?
So they've got one guy that's making
Five, and one that's making 3. They got $8 million tied up in 2 players.
in a backcourt, basically.
Yeah. But Vatsa, whatever he is,
whatever
and
he
then
is, yeah.
the point guard.
Yeah.
I know Scott Drew's got, I mean, for people that don't know this story, this is a guy that took over for Dave Bliss. They were basically given as close to a death penalty as you can get SMU football.
They almost lost 14 players then.
Yeah, they couldn't play an out-of-conference schedule.
That's right.
Somebody murdered somebody on the team, and they had more people back. than
They
that.
did,
That's a good
point. But Scott Drew is a guy that cut his teeth as a head coach there. His entire career as a head coach has been spent there. But if you're Scott Drew and you've got BYU that's going to spend 5 times what you're going to spend on the roster, like how can you hang around and be competitive?
Yeah, but that's if it can happen to Baylor, it can happen to anybody. I mean, we think Auburn and Alabama has gone through a changeover.
Unless you want to have that commitment. I mean, I think Baylor probably – now maybe they're a situation where we've got enough to spend on one sport. And is it going to be football or is it going to be basketball?
I think it's not a money thing. I think you almost nailed it, hit the nail on the head, your first comment. I think he lost the one guy to BYU that he probably wanted back, and that he probably would rather go shopping. Now, I haven't been paying attention to what they're doing in the portal, but I can't believe that's where Baylor is right now.
Yeah, well, I would say this. Like you've heard from people, like building a schedule for college basketball is a pain in the ass. Building an entire roster?
I can't imagine having to do it. And
Yeah, it's one thing if you're like, okay, I need a 3-and-D guy. I need a guy that can play the 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Let's identify that guy in the portal. Let's identify 13 guys.
But then, I mean, you get one locker room cancer out of this whole deal, right? I mean, you go, I got to go get 14 new guys. One of them, we just didn't do enough background, or the background we got was flawed, and this guy's a locker room cancer. I've tanked my season. But,
Right.
I mean, at this point, you got no other choice. You're going to have to, I mean, he's got a signing class, obviously, but that's probably, 3 or 4 guys. I mean, you're going to have to probably get a good 8 to 10 guys out of the portal, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll look at his signing class, but it can't be that many guys.
In case we don't get back to it, in basketball portal news, Auburn picked up a big man from Butler Junior College, Emeka Oporum, is from Nigeria and Butler Junior College. He's coming in. He'll be a role player for Auburn next year. And Brown, you're telling me Jeff Goodman, good news for Alabama, if he had to do a crystal ball right now, the big 6'6" guard from Washington State is an Alabama lean, according to Jeff Goodman of Field of 68.
Yeah, I'm going to get his number real quick, Jim. I did now. I'm going to let me give an asterisk on this, if you do not mind. I did not see Jeff say this, but people were sending me.
Oh, I did. I saw it.
Oh, you saw him say it?
Yeah.
It was in one of his shows, right? Because I didn't see him say it, but
Field
people.
of 68 podcast, and he has tweeted it out that the Washington State guard Cedric Cowherd,
something like that,
is a guy that if he had to say where he was going to end up, Alabama is in the lead at least.
Yeah, they're best positioned to get him, and it was an impressive list of teams that wanted him. Kansas, I think Kentucky was on there, so it was all the big players that were in there.
What jumped out to me,
6'6" guard.
Well, yeah, what jumped out to me is another big guard. Nate Oates is changing the way his guards look for the upcoming season. All right, that's the portal news. We'll try not to talk too much portal on the show, but it is such a big part of what's going on. We'll celebrate Lee Corso later in the show. Jim Cavale of athletes.org, for athletes, by athletes, will be in studio with us at 10 to talk about the portal and make you a little smarter about that and collectives and all that. But when we come back, one NFL player says his former franchise is a crying shame. That's a quote. We'll talk about that 1 week from the NFL draft. Some more football news coming up. Show today being brought to you by our friends at NASCAR Browning.
You can go see the Jack Links 500 weekend at the Talladega Superspeedway coming up April 25th through 27th. If you have never been to a race at Talladega, you are missing out. It is turn after turn, 500 miles of white knuckle, roaring racing. I'm telling you, man, if you've lived in Alabama any amount of time and haven't done the people watching at Talladega and just enjoyed the sheer power at Talladega, you are missing out. Don't miss out anymore. Jack Link's 500 weekend, TalladagaSuperspeedway.com, April 25th through 27th. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com as NASCAR returns to Talladega, April 25th through 27th. Get your spot now, TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
The road to the Indy 500 runs through Birmingham, May 2nd through the 4th. The fastest IndyCar drivers in the world, O'Ward, Dixon, and Newgarden will put their skills to the test with one goal in mind: victory. Witness Miss America Abby Stockard give the most iconic command in all of racing as the Grand Marshal. May starts here. The Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix, powered by AmFirst. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours today.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR, Talladega Superspeedway, is ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to this track, you've got to come check it out. 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Superspeedway. It's April 25th through the 27th, and you can get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. That's TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The 15th annual Logan Martin Lake Fest and Boat Show, presented by AmFirst, is May 9th through the 11th on Logan Martin Lake in Pell City. The Logan Martin Lake Fest and Boat Show is totally free to the public. Bama's biggest in-water boat show, 80 boats, lake lifestyle vendors, food trucks, beer garden, and live music all weekend long. There's fireworks on Friday night to honor veterans, a mermaid parade on Saturday, and free mimosas for Mama on Sunday. All by going to LoganMartinLakeFest.com, LoganMartinLakeFest.com.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
All right, back with you on the next round.
I did want to bring this up about Cedric Cowherd real quick.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you guys saw this. He didn't play outside of the month of November.
Oh, okay.
He only played in 6 games. In his last 2 games he played, he scored 30 and 22.
That's pretty good.
So, I don't know. I would assume injury. I don't know if it was academic standing. I doubt that. I don't know the last time I even heard that. But, obviously, the guy played in 6 games last year and averaged almost 18 points per game at 7 rebounds, but really heated up his final 2 games.
I don't think academic situations get you suspended anymore.
Yeah. We can put you online class.
I think the schools are able to handle that one.
Do you guys find yourself, before Brandon, you tell us about our friends at Bojangles, do you find yourself occasionally forgetting things that you remembered for a long time, but you put so much in your head now? Like, I've got 3 pictures I'm about to show you after we hear from Bojangles from a sporting event I remember doing in my sportscast at NBC 13 in 1993, but until I saw it in some throwback Instagram timeline last night, that I'd forgot it even happened. And I never knew this side of the story.
So it's funny you bring this up because I did watch a Black Mirror episode yesterday called Eulogy with Paul Giamatti, one of the best actors of our generation, I think.
And he's in a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, and it's really good. But
I'm going to have to watch this freaking show.
It's called Eulogy. It's only 47
Miley
minutes.
Cyrus is in an episode, too.
I'm going to have to watch this freaking show.
That didn't sell me as much as Paul Giamatti, but okay.
But this
I was trying to sell Jim.
So they reach out. Somebody has passed away that Giamatti was close to, and they reach out, and it's a new technology where they can show you pictures, and then you get in the picture. You can go back and visit that scene and what you remember about it, where you can give the best memories of the person that has passed away.
That would be the greatest invention, I think.
It is a complete train wreck. Like
how
to
that's how we have bad inventions.
That's right.
Somebody goes, that would be a great invention.
Me and Maddie watched it. We looked at each other like, damn, that was really sad. It was like sad 47 minutes. But anyway, it just, like, if I look at a photo, that is one thing that you can start doing. You can remember maybe what you were eating.
Yeah.
You can remember, what you did after the photo, before the photo.
Oh.
There's so many different directions.
Yes.
Who was involved.
Yes. That's why photos are so good. And music. Because songs can take you back to moments or people.
That was part of it too.
But pictures, and I was mentioning this because my dad's still in the hospital, and I have a lot of time just sit around and going through pictures. And I was showing some old pictures. And I was like, what do I do nowadays with all these pictures on my phone? I'm glad I've got 7,462 pictures. Some of them are videos or basketball show stuff I need to delete from this basketball season. But what do I do with all these? At some point, I think I would like to have them printed, or do I?
No, I've got one.
Do I use them more on my phone than I would look at them?
I know. I've got one on my phone I want to have printed, and I think you could just go buy any, Kinko's or whatever and email it to them, and they'll print it.
And this is honestly the reason I do Instagram, is to keep the pictures that I really want to keep.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I've got, I would think that 9 out of 10 pictures in my camera reel are junk.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, you wouldn't want to print all of them, but even if you printed 100 of them, what are you going to do with them? You're not going to
Yeah.
hang 100 of them on your wall.
Right.
And then if you put them into a scrapbook that we used to do in the 90s, you never pull that scrapbook out and look at it. I think you use them more when they're on your phone, right?
I do, because I'll give you an example of this. I was playing golf the other day, and we were talking about Barkley. And one of the guys I was playing with is from Atlanta, and he was like, "Where does Charles live over there?" And I told him, and I was like, "You would not believe the view from the penthouse where he lives." And we were over there, but you know how I remembered it? I remembered it was that SEC Media Days. I remembered the year, so I was able to just scroll through my phone and was like, look at the view from his penthouse. It's crazy. And they were like, "God, you got to be kidding me."
Yeah, but I bug the crap out of Taylor and Emily Grace all the time.
I'm not surprised.
A story will come up of the old days, and I'll start, let me show you this. Yeah. And I'll show them a series of pictures, and they're like, "Oh, that's very nice, Grandpa."
No, but I do. I think that's one of the things that we probably don't do enough is look at old pictures. You know, my ex, Bethany's moving again, and so her and Leighton went through a bunch of stuff, and so I get all these pictures that are brought over to me. And I went through them, and it was probably 30, 45 minutes it took me to go through them, but there were pictures from 25 years ago and just some of the best memories. And you're like, damn, we used to hang out with that couple a lot. I haven't seen them in years.
Yeah.
It's really fun to reminisce that kind of stuff.
I'm fascinated now, Jim. Bojangles Bites. Bites.
This was better than the story I'm about to do.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Bo Bites, the bite-sized hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection, perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. It's a Bo Bite. The hardest part's choosing from the 6 dipping sauces, one for every craving, from the creamy house-made ranch to the sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, craveable Bo Bites. It's Bo time. Dunaway takes us back in time.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bo time, let's go back in time.
Before you show us any pictures, Forrester, July 20th, 1993.
July 20th, 1993. I think it's going to be you and David Palmer.
Nope. Oh. I know who this is going to be.
I'm not in this.
Oh.
Yeah. This story I did on NBC 13 Sports, the pictures are from that day.
Davey Allison helicopter crash.
Oh, that would be too sad for me to be this happy. 7-5, Braves beat St. Louis, Fulton County Stadium. Game was delayed, not for rain, not for lightning, but a fire in the stadium at Fulton County Stadium.
Fred McGriff's first game.
It was Fred McGriff's first game.
I remember this well.
He homered, walked off.
Yep.
Game delayed because a suite caught on fire.
Yeah, I think they traced it back to one of those cans
that keeps it hot.
That's right.
Kicked over, caught on fire.
Damn, I don't remember this.
You don't remember that?
No.
Okay, these are the series of photos. I never have seen these photos until last night. Just run through them all. There's the fire that is blazing inside Fulton County Stadium.
We're just making pictures.
They have obviously evacuated the crowd that was there that day at Fulton County Stadium.
I mean, this almost looks Photoshopped. They're so
I know,
comfortable.
I agree.
Right. But before you had Photoshops and things like that.
Deion, just like
Deion Sanders and David Justice there joking while the fire's blazing. The players are out there watching them try to put the fire out. It bled over into the press box, and the Braves radio booth got scorched as well. The next photo is actually Ron Gant, who decides, you know what? We don't have Photoshops where I can be a hot hitter standing in front of the blaze like the Leonard Skinner album back in the day. So I'm going to take this, folks, right here. I'm on hot. I'm on fire.
One guy in the background.
Wait, so did they end up playing the game that day?
There was nobody.
They came back,
Nobody sitting behind home plate. Everybody sat down the lines or in the outfield. I don't know why I remember it. Well, I do know why I remember it. You were watching it.
Because I was there.
I started the fire. I just remember it being Fred McGriff's first game. That was a big deal. He had just come over from Toronto.
It was his first game, and he game-winning home run.
And
he was so good.
And he was the crime dog, and they were jokingly said maybe in Atlanta he'll be the fire dog. You know, we got to start calling him, McGruff the fire dog.
And there's your middle infielders, Mark Lemke and Jeff Blauser. By the way, bodies have changed for Major League Baseball players.
Lemke always had those amber vision glasses on.
What do you think they have? 4 home runs between them that year?
Yeah. Hey, let's take it. I mean, Major League Baseball players who's like, we may play a long time in the league. We probably will never have another fire inside a stadium, a fire delay. Let's go snap a photo real quick.
I can't believe I don't remember this at all.
Yeah. I the only reason I remember it is I was going to watch it because it was McGriff's first game. And I do not – who'd you say they were playing, the Cardinals?
Cardinals, 7-5. Braves win.
Yeah, and I remember the aspect of McGriff having the walk-off, and it was late at night because they had to delay opening the gates.
Yeah, July 20th, 1993. Caught in Pictures. Atlanta Pictures on Instagram, I think, who fed that to me last night. A just crazy moment. I'd forgotten all about the fire and all of that inside the old stadium there. Let's get to the legend who says his old team is a crying shame after LT tells us about the lock, lanceslock.com. Braves, by the way, a loser yesterday, but a great outing from Spencer Strider. You get more on that coming up in the Pennant Grace today live with Ush and EG at 12:15 today. Lanceslock.com gets you maybe into some NBA winners this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we were 2-0 in the NBA last night, 1-0 in Major League Baseball, so a nice 3-0 for you. That runs our record to 29-16 in Major League Baseball. As we roll into the middle of April, jump on board. We've got 2 plays up tonight, one absolutely free, both in Major League Baseball. Jump on board and win with us at lanceslock.com. Again, $100 gets you absolutely everything. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services, 205-229-2090. Spring weather is here. Make sure that HVAC unit is ready to keep up with this changing weather. Right now, $1,000 off your HVAC unit plus 0% financing. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
And, of course, after the Masters in Augusta, we get ready for the Indy Racing League coming back to Barber Motorsports Park, known as the Augusta National of the Indy Racing League. The landscaping and everything, the drivers and the fans love it over at Barber.
Beautiful there. The road to the Indy 500 runs through Birmingham, May 2nd through 4th. Fastest IndyCar drivers in the world, O'Ward, Dixon, and Newgarden, put their skills to the test. One goal in mind, that is victory. Miss America, Abby Stockard, will make the most iconic command in all racing as the Grand Marshal. May starts here. The Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix, powered by First tickets are selling fast. Get yours today, IndyAlabama.com. That's IndyAlabama.com. This afternoon with our friends from that race, by the way. We will be out at Walk-Ons Trussville. We're going to be live 4 to 5, so set your alerts on YouTube and all your social media platforms. Make sure you follow us there. We'll go live. But our friends with the Indy Racing League out there, Walk-Ons Trussville in the Birmingham area this afternoon, 4 to 5.
I look forward to that. Is that a...
we'll be hanging out after that, 5 to 6, too.
Yeah. Is that a situation where we're talking both about the race, but also are we doing a mystery fifth hour around that?
We're going to have some fun.
Yeah, so we'll have some fun there.
Let people know how they can get race tickets and then have some fun.
All that coming up this afternoon, 4 Central Time. Set your alerts on the video platform. Walk-Ons Trussville. Come have a cocktail with us, and we'll look forward to being out there. I don't know if you like it when your old players are critical of your franchise or not, but Emmitt Smith says the Dallas Cowboys have become, quote, a crying shame. I'm sick of it, Smith said of the Eagles' soaring popularity on Philadelphia radio station 94 WIP, their sports station up there. We've allowed others to nitpick at the Cowboys and make fun of the star, and that's what happens. Now all of a sudden, over the last 20 years, Philadelphia wins 2 Super Bowls, and they think they're the best thing on the planet. And everywhere I go, I hear "Go Birds." I'm sick of hearing "Go Birds," and it bugs me. Bugs me, he says, the way Jerry Jones has let the franchise go. I'm tired of being sold on what the Cowboys could be. I'm tired. I've had enough of it because I'm more about what the Cowboys really are. How do you allow this to happen when talking about Jerry Jones?
I'm kind of torn on this because I think Jerry Jones has done a lot for the organization and, what he did in the early 90s. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is, back to what, Emmett is upset about, is the Eagles over the last 25 years, it's not even close. Like, I would say NFC Championship games probably 7 or 8 to 1. Super Bowls 4 to nothing.
Yeah.
Super Bowl championships, obviously 2 to nothing.
What do you think's missing there for the Cowboys? Why can't they not do it?
They don't have players like Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and that great offensive
You guys
line.
tell me if this is a bad example. It's almost like what Nike and Phil Knight have done for Oregon, what Jerry Jones does with Dallas. And they're always relevant, and everybody's always talking about them, but they just, for whatever reason, can't get over that.
Emmett feels like, and he says this in another podcast with NBC Sports, that they have been living off what we did for the last 20 years. That
that's been a long time ago.
It's time for them to do their own thing.
But, I mean, I think you could say that about any organization.
Probably.
I mean, people talk about the 72 Dolphins, right?
I know. They still celebrate, when the last undefeated team loses deep in the season.
I mean, when I think San Francisco, as good as they've been, I think Joe Montana in those days.
It does remind you, here locally, I'll tie it locally, to what Alabama football was between 1981 and Gene Stallings, and then from Gene Stallings to Nick Saban. There's a lot of living off the past that goes on there.
There is. I tell you where I think, what I think is put Dallas in this situation is they've spent far too much time. We talk a lot about this on this show in the NFL. And we talked about it yesterday, in fact. When you get a top half quarterback in the NFL, you pretty much have to marry that guy. But top half quarterback is not good enough to win you a Super Bowl most of the time. Like, I think my franchise is there right now. We've definitely got a top half quarterback. Do I have a quarterback good enough to win me a Super Bowl? I've never seen that. So my answer right now would be no. I don't think Dak Prescott is either. So, but what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to just punt Tua Tagovailoa and Dak Prescott to the curb?
Here's been the bigger problem, and I think Jerry he's got to be an incredible businessman, right? I mean, we talked about he was kind of self-made. But I think what he does is you get a Dak, you get a CD Lamb, you get a Micah Parsons. And this has become a big discussion. And you don't pay them on the front end. You wait until guys like Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence are getting all this money, and then you're forced to pay even more because the market is driving up. The same with CD Lamb. If you would have, once you identify these guys as long-term starters, go on and pay them a fair market value where you're not on the other side. And the Cowboys seem to be the last team that gets these deals done. Therefore, they're paying the highest for every one of these positions.
Yeah, that's interesting. And they've made some mistakes, famously in the offseason. A lot of people wanted Dallas to go get Derrick Henry, and Jerry Jones said Derrick Henry is too expensive. So instead, they went and got Ezekiel Elliott again. And what they're paying him for his previous contract and his current contract was the same as Baltimore's paying Derrick Henry.
Yep.
Right. That sounded stupid, right?
And then when you look at Derrick Henry and how productive he was this year.
I mean, one of his best years of his career. I mean, would that have helped Dallas?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so you've obviously made some serious mistakes. Dak's health has been an issue. I mean, he gets hurt. Again, I hate to keep comparing to my franchise. Nobody cares about the Dolphins, but I mean, Dak and Tua get hurt a lot, don't they?
I'm going to guess Dak has missed an average of 3 games a year in his career.
Probably. I mean, I would say that's fair. So, I mean, it's hard when you're starting a backup quarterback 3 games out of a season. That can cost you the playoffs. Very easily can cost you. It's hard enough to make the playoffs with your starter.
Yeah, I mean, Dak played 8 last year. He played a full 17 the year before. He played 12 before that, 16 and 5. And then the previous 4, he made it all 16. But, I mean, he's missed a lot of games over the last 5 years.
Do you think some of it, though, I mean, they don't – I feel like Jerry Jones likes to hire coaches that will be beholden to him. I mean, famously, he and Jimmy Johnson did not see eye to eye because Jimmy Johnson became the star more than Jerry. And they did not see eye to eye. It was years later that Troy Aikman and some of those former players were instrumental in getting – Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones to mend fences enough for Johnson just to be honored by the Cowboys for those championships.
Yeah,
but they had to mend fences to do that. But I mean, his coaches have been Dave Campo and Chan Gailey and Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer.
Yeah, I mean, guys he can control.
Now, he also had Parcells, so that's a guy you can't control.
And they got a little bit better under Parcells. Not good enough, though, to win a Super Bowl. NFL Draft is 1 week from tonight. Our friends at CBS Sports have some comparison of some of the top players to former or current NFL players. Just a handful of these here. I want to get y'all's reaction to that. I will tell you that Shedeur Sanders working out for the Giants today in Boulder. The Giants will be in Tuscaloosa tomorrow to do a private workout for Jalen Milroe. And then they'll be in Louisville on Saturday to work out Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck of Louisville. So Boulder, Tuscaloosa, and Louisville in 3 days for the Giants.
Well, and people are saying that Shuck is that 4th quarterback. Milroe's the 5th quarterback now.
Yeah. Because
after Cam Ward and then however you've got them going, Jackson Dart or Shedeur, then you've got Shuck, and then you've got Milroe.
That gets us to Cam Ward. The comparison CBS Sports says of Cam Ward as you watch him maybe go first overall to the Titans, likely 1 week from tonight. They compare him to Jordan Love. What do you think of that? I mean, if you're a Titans fan, I think I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I don't know if I see that. You know what? I see a little bit in Cam Ward, and the reason I bring him up is because there was a little bit of news yesterday, and this has become kind of a trend with ex-players getting head coaching jobs. But Florida A&M hired Charlie Ward, who won a Heisman back in the 90s at Florida State. To me, Charlie Ward in today's game would be incredible, and I think Charlie Ward and Cam Ward. It's fun.
No,
I didn't even think about the name.
I know, but that's an interesting
I really didn't think of
comparison,
it, but that's kind of who he reminds me of.
Yeah. So we'll talk more about the NFL draft coming up right now. More developing news as the portal continues to churn or not churn.
This one is Auburn basketball related and interesting. If you go back a couple weeks to our interview with Stephen Pearl, On3 is reporting that Chad Baker-Mazara is entering the NCAA transfer portal. Which, by the way, I think only has 5 days left. Am I right about that?
I have no idea.
To enter, not to sign.
Yeah. To get in, yes. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, you don't have to be signed within 5 days. You've got the before the portal window closes to put your name in it. So Chad Baker-Mazara, developing news, is in the transfer portal. Do you make of that Auburn is moving on from Chad Baker-Mazara, or this is a money play from Chad Baker-Mazara?
I would think, based on how depleted the roster is, I would think this is a money play.
Yeah, I would think this is probably one of those mutual, if it's a money play, you're probably not going to get that money here, Chad. We appreciate the time. And there's a lot, and listen, the elephant in the room with him is there's a lot of extra you get with Chad Baker-Mazara.
Yeah.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Just because you're in the portal doesn't mean you're leaving school, Dole. I'll make that point here, but it is a flex to put your name in the portal if you are, 25, soon to be 26-year-old, and Auburn has done what they have done for you to make you your name over the past few years. If he ends up back at Auburn, then this will look like a money grab by him, that he wanted to up his ante. If he goes somewhere else, then I think it'd be very safe to say at that point Auburn was willing to pay him a certain amount of money, but not extend that amount of money.
Yeah, when these guys come back to whatever that program is, the last thing you want to do is get in the portal. You want to avoid that, because you're right. The only thing this is going to look like, because I find it hard to believe Auburn went to Chad Baker and said, you know what, we're going to pay you less than we did last year.
Yeah, but probably we're not going to pay you what we paid Janai Broom either.
That's right.
And guess what? And you don't deserve it.
You haven't earned that. Yeah.
So if you get to a place where, hey, I'm coming back, I'm the biggest name on the team, I was on that Final Four team, I'm the biggest name on the team, I need Janai's money, that's a hard conversation to have.
Yeah,
we're not paying you Janai's money.
Unfortunately, this is the conversation the representatives want to have, because they're telling Chad Baker, hey, man, you are going to be the alpha of that team next year.
You're the face, man. You need Janai's money.
And I don't want to read too much into facts we don't know, but the season has been over 2 weeks now. That's a long time between the end of season and hitting the portal, so it does appear that there was at least some back and forth, right?
Yeah. So that's interesting. We'll keep an eye on Chad Baker-Mazara. Real quickly, Tyler, let's do our viewing menu brought to you by our friends at Michelson. We'll talk to Jim Cavale coming up in our next segment. Fascinating. He's been on the front end of collectives and NIL and all of that for years now. We pick his brain. Very great opportunity coming up in the next segment. Tell us about Michelson.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made over 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. 205-969-8100. Very important. Ask for Amy. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. 205-969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business, conveniently located at UAB Highlands. For more information, you can always go online, michelsonlaservision.com.
All right, we got a couple new releases in theaters tonight. First off, a movie that me and Tim will be seeing right after the meltdown, Sinners, starring Michael B. Jordan in 2 roles. It's directed by Ryan Coogler, who also did Black Panther, and
the Creed franchise.
What's that?
And he did the Creed franchise.
Yes, he did Creed as well. Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back.
Ooh.
It's supposed to be a vampire kind of movie.
Oh, vampires.
And it's been called equal parts scary and horny.
Wow.
Okay. That has been the main review coming out.
Wait, corny or?
No, horny.
Okay.
Equal parts.
Like, I'll go see it. I don't know if I'll see it at the theater, but Melton, when you were in here last week, he was hyping it up.
Yeah. By the way,
one of his most anticipated movies of the year.
He did say that.
I thought it looked. I don't know. Like, I can't decide if it's going to be good or bad.
By the way, Maggie describes me exactly the same way.
Equal parts.
I'm not surprised. But if that's not interesting to you, you can also go see Sneaks in theater. When a designer sneaker unwittingly finds himself lost in New York City, he must dig deep into his soul with an E in order to rescue his sister and return to his rightful owner. And this has got a crazy cast in it. It's got Lawrence Fishburne, Keith David, Anthony Mackie, Quavo from the Migos, DJ Mustard, and Sway Lee from Ray Shrimmer. Animated movie about shoes.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all I got
Thank
for
you,
today.
Tyler.
Brought to you by our friends at Michelson.
205-969-8100 or MichelSonLaserVision.com.
Athletes.org for athletes by athletes. Jim Cavale in studio next.
Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Birmingham's fastest party returns to Barber Motorsports Park May 2nd through 4th. Medical Properties Trust presents the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix powered by AmFirst. Experience 3 days of high-speed action featuring the fastest drivers in the world from the IndyCar Series. Enjoy the Kids Zone, food trucks, beer garden, Ferris wheel, fan zone, and more. The Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix powered by AmFirst. Kids 15 and under get in free. Get your tickets now.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR is Talladega Super Speedway, and it's ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to the Talladega Super Speedway, you have to check it out. This beast is 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every single turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 25th through 27th. Get your tickets now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. Don't miss the action. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Hey, you. Days warming up, looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, developing stories out there. Chad Baker-Mazara in the portal for Auburn. We gave you a reaction to that. You can follow us on TikTok and set your alerts. We'll continue to react to that all day long. He's in the portal. Doesn't mean he's leaving Auburn, but he could be on the move as Auburn rebuilds their roster. Also, Lee Corso stepping away from College Game Day. He'll do one more College Game Day, week 1. Destination not announced yet, likely Texas, Ohio State, for Corso's last ride on College Game Day. Those are sort of your headlines we have out there today.
You know, so one of the guys that's always been on the front edge of NIL, all of these things that everybody is so confused about, is now in studio with us, a longtime friend. I've known this guy 15 years. We all have. Jim Cavale, athletes.org. You know, we had the conversation earlier this week about Nico, and you brought up the transfer portal. And you said there's not really a window when it comes to the transfer portal. It literally is 365 days a year. What did you actually mean by that? Because Brown was talking about, I think there's only 4 more days left in the college basketball.
That's in the basketball one, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is the NCAA has clarified the fact that you can technically unenroll and enroll anytime you want. And Xavier Lucas and the situation at Wisconsin earlier this year proved that. So while there are some transfer rules out there, they're very unenforceable. And that really is a microcosm of the bigger picture of not just college football, but college sports, which is there are no rules. And until there are rules and rules that can be enforced, you can expect a continuance of the chaos you're seeing, whether it's Nico or the 10 things that are going to happen next week, because there's no rules. So that's really what fans and everyone needs to understand. And we all know we need to have rules and structure in college athletics, and they need to be rules that can be enforced for this thing to kind of come back to reality.
Well, let's start with, and as Lance said, we've all known Jim forever. Let's start with what the organization you work for does, athletes.org. You're the founder of it. What are you guys doing for the athletes?
Well, I think an important part of telling the athletes.org story is talking about the previous decade of work I did in college athletics. And I built a software company called Influencer. We started in 2017 with Coach Calipari in Kentucky basketball, and we grew pretty fast in the first 2 years. 3,000 college and pro teams used our software to help their athletes on social media. And a big reason that I built the company and left Iron Tribe, Lance used to work out at my gyms. I used to be president over at Iron Tribe and doing that. I left Iron Tribe and sold to be able to build Influencer because I felt strongly from the Ed O'Bannon case that NIL was not a matter of if but when. I just didn't know when it was going to happen. So my thesis was, let's build a great software company that helps athletes on social. Let's get every college and pro team to be a client. And when NIL happens, we'll be in a position to help with that too. You fast forward to 2021, NIL happens. We sold the company to Teamworks. I stayed on board as CEO, and we built payments and reporting software for most of the major colleges. So in the first year NIL, we ran about $350 million of NIL activity through our software. And I could see what was happening. And a lot of my friends in college athletics, ADs and commissioners, would say, hey, can you come present what's happening with NIL at our conference meeting or at our national meeting? And I would. And here's what happened in the first year. 90% of the $350 million was money being laundered by donors through a shell company called a collective to pay players to play at your school. And I know you don't like the words pay and play in the same sentence, athletic directors and commissioners, but that's what NIL is being used for. And the reason we're here in this chaotic, unstructured environment with NIL is because Ed O'Bannon beat you in court a decade ago and you didn't do anything to get in front of it. If you would have relinquished some rules, maybe we wouldn't be here. You know, if Kyle Guy could have shared his wedding registry without getting in trouble, or whatever example you want to use, right? So here we are in 2022, and this is what's happening. And during 2022, while that was happening, there was new court cases. House, Carter, Hubbard versus the NCAA. And they were all about the school paying the athlete directly instead of donors funding athlete pay through a collective. And so I would really push for, hey, we got to figure this out. And there was a push back on figuring anything out. And that's why I stepped down as CEO and started athletes.org, which is the Players Association for college athletes. Just like you have the NFLPA or NBPA for those leagues, there's a need for players to have an association in college because it's the only way you can set rules. You have to collectively bargain transfer rules, free agency, compensation rules, health and safety with the schools. And then all the rules can be enforced and there's no more lawsuits because you have protections. And so that's really what we're building. We have 4,200 athletes across mostly power conference schools, mostly football and basketball. And it's free membership. And when they sign up, we educate them on their rights. We also educate them on the business of college sports. We gather them in person at the CFP. We had 50 power conference schools represented with football players who met about these things for 2 days. And, we're really hoping that at some point the schools do what the other multi-billion-dollar sports and entertainment businesses do, and they collectively bargain with their talent because that's going to allow structure to come to college athletics.
The free membership, is that why you stay away from using Players Union there, because it's free so anybody can join? You don't have to use the word union there, and also the collective bargaining, that shuts down the lawsuits, right? Once you have a collective bargaining agreement, then everybody can't keep running to court and saying, well, you can't enforce that, you can't enforce that.
Correct. So the big thing is we're a trade association at this point because athletes aren't employees.
Right.
If athletes were employees, we'd be a 501c6 union. Instead, we're a 501c4 trade association. We look similar and are structured similar to the Screen Actors Guild, who represents actors and writers that are contractors.
He's a member.
And I know. He spent some time out there.
He was a member at one point, right?
Out of high school.
I tried to become a member. You gotta have some talent.
So, ultimately, we are not out advocating for employment. Employment is a fear of college athletics leaders because it would be turning the business model they have upside down. They'd have to pay payroll taxes, workers' comp, minimum wage. It'd be an 8-figure a year additional expense to the universities in addition to what they're paying the players, which is another 8 figures a year. So they're very, very fearful of employment. So what we've said is, hey, there are ways to collectively bargain with contractors. And we're building a trade association that could help you do that. And so we have tried to build a bridge. We represent the athletes, but a lot of my friends and former friends are leading college athletic programs or conferences, and we're trying to say, hey, there's a bridge here, and there's a way to do this, and that's how we've approached it, and that's why we're not a union, and it's free because we're not collectively bargaining right now for the athletes. Now, when we do, will we charge member dues? Yeah, of course. I mean, we have to build a business, but right now, we're investing millions a year into an operation that is further along than any association in history in college athletics in actually organizing the athletes so we can do this.
Well, the way you worded that is some former friends. Look, this seems to be inevitable that there's going to be another side and there's going to be a union like athletes.org. When you come across commissioners and chancellors, what is their pushback to you? Why would they not say, hey, look, this is inevitable. This is good for the athletes that they've got this on their side. We can find common ground.
Yeah, it's a very polarizing topic, even outside of sports. Unionization is, right? Like, we're in Alabama. We already know about the UAW disputes that have happened here with the United Auto Workers Union, right? Right-to-work states, which most of the southern states are anti-unionization in a lot of ways and have laws that don't allow it. And so who does the president work for at a public institution? They work for the governor, basically. And so it's a very polarizing topic that at the presidential level and at the state government level can be looked at as, no, we're not doing anything with unionization. The problem is the analogy in their head that they're using is the UAW. The analogy in their head they should be using is the NFLPA, who has a partnership that's not adversarial. The players, the NFLPA, and the NFL have a partnership in the greatest business in sports. And so we need more of the leaders at the presidential level of the school and the state government level to understand that unionization in sports is a great thing, especially for a multi-billion-dollar sports and entertainment business, which they're a part of, and it's a solution. And so when you go down into the commissioner and AD level, you have to have a little bit of empathy for them because they don't really make decisions on their own. Who does the commissioner of a conference report to? The presidents of the school. The commissioner of a conference can't just make decisions on his or her own. They report to the presidents. So we do need commissioners and ADs to step up. Somebody's got to lead, right? Leadership is hard. It takes conviction in your own beliefs. It takes a willingness to cast a vision that may get a lot of pushback, but also a belief in that vision to pursue it all the way to the end. We saw this in 2020. Greg Sankey made sure that he stuck to the vision of playing out that football season and didn't react when the Big Ten and the Pac-12, God rest its soul, we're saying, no, myocarditis, and our doctors said this and whatever. And Commissioner Sankey, in my opinion, did the best leadership that's ever been done in college athletics history because it saved the football season. He stuck to his vision with conviction, right? We need leaders to do that with this. We need people to be okay talking about what collective bargaining looks like, whether it's in private or public, and we need a leader to step up and show the industry what it could look like to follow that vision.
What's their biggest fear? Is it a strike or a holdout? Because when you hear the Players Association, we've had strikes before in the NFL, even though there's a partnership. It happens in Major League Baseball. We got one that's probably going to happen soon, maybe in both of those sports. Is that a fear from college leaders? Because it does seem to me like there are strikes and holdouts individually happening on a daily basis with college athletes right now.
Oh, yeah.
Are they fearful that it's just one big group that does it at one time? I don't know what the biggest fear is for them.
Yeah, I think there's a fear of if an organization representing all of the athletes as a group could not only disrupt labor and a strike could happen, but there's also now an ability to file grievances, and it increases accountability, which lessens the power of the actual schools and college athletics departments. However, by giving up a little bit of power and working together with their athletes, they gain this greater protection. And it's going to end up being a trade at some point. There's going to be a compromise. Right now, there's only two ways that you can set rules and not get sued, okay? You either get Congress to bail you out with an antitrust exemption that allows you to do that, and that's what they're trying to do right now through Ted Cruz, and they're not going to get it. I mean, is anything really going to pass right now in Congress? It could be a bill for world peace from the Republicans. 7 Democrats on the Senate ain't voting for it. So Congress bailing them out is choice one. Choice two is collective bargaining. That's it. Those are the only two ways, fans, that rules can be set, that transfer rules can be set, and commitment can be restored in college athletics, and minimum salaries and salary caps can take place, and all the things. You have to have one of those two things happen. And so I think there's a fear, as I said earlier, of employment happening, which is one big fear. Another fear is it's giving up a little bit of power and doing things collaboratively with the athletes instead of on an island. And I think the political fear of what's my governor going to say? You know, how's my president going to feel about this? But at some point, something's got to give. And I think this Nico situation is foreshadowing many, many more like it.
Jim Cavale is with us in studio, athletes.org, athletes.org. We'll talk more with Jim in a moment. I want to remind everyone that NASCAR is coming back to the Talladega Superspeedway. TalladegaSuperspeedway.com for the Jack Links 500 weekend, April 25th through 27th. You can go see the intensity of Talladega for yourself. If you've never done this, you really, really should. It is a blast. April 25th through 27th. Reserve your spot for the Jack Links 500 weekend, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Jim, I've been told, now granted this was by someone in college athletics, so you know his priority is his athletic department, his school, and his players, that one of the biggest issues in NIL right now is many of the agents that are operating are not NFLPA approved agents. So they've got a 3-year window to make their money off players. And most of the time, the players are coming into this uneducated. They're new to this territory, so they agree to anything because they see dollar signs. And agents are running amok because of this.
Yeah, it's very true. And I think what's so sad is, you know, we've built a lot of technology for the athletes through their member app to be able to run background checks on agents, along with getting free legal, free accounting, taking polls and surveys on key issues. And this agent thing comes up a lot. You know, there's a need for agents to have to go through a certification to be an agent for a college athlete. There's a need for fees to be regulated on what an agent can charge. There's a whole set of regulations. that we could actually bring right now. And we would love to bring right now because we've built it. But unfortunately, until you have a players association, you can't regulate agents.
Right.
It's another reason why there should be a players association certified and recognized by the schools. And it's one of many. Another thing we haven't gotten into it yet is the settlement that's happening, right? The House settlement. There was a hearing last week to have it approved. It wasn't approved in the hearing, but it should be approved probably in the next couple weeks. And that's what's going to allow revenue sharing to start from the schools to the athletes. That's the $20 million per school cap you may have heard about. And there are going to be so many new problems from the settlement.
Great.
Okay. First of all, last week during a hearing for 7 hours, people objected. And it was athletes coming up objecting about the fact that there's Title IX violations because all the money is really going to go to football and men's basketball. There was athletes who objected around the roster limitations because now you only have a certain amount of roster spots per sport, and essentially you're going to have thousands of spots gone from D1. And there was athletes complaining about that. There was athletes complaining around the contracts that the schools are putting in front of the athletes. These are all issues that will be new lawsuits, and they won't be against the NCAA anymore. The lawsuits are now coming directly to the school. The school takes on all the liability because who's the athlete signing a contract now with? The school. There's no more NCAA national letter of intent. It's gone. When you sign to be an athlete, you're signing with Auburn. You're signing with Alabama. And you're signing a scholarship agreement. And then if you're good enough or play a sport that produces revenue, you're signing a revenue sharing agreement. And so there's going to be a ton of new issues from the House settlement that, once again, exposes the fact that the only real solution is collective bargaining.
Let me ask you this. Is unlimited eligibility on the table?
Yes. All of it is.
I mean, are you for that, though? If you're a guy like Diego Pavia that we've talked about, a Vanderbilt quarterback who will never play in the NFL, but if he could play till he's 35 at Vanderbilt and make $1 million a year, is that a good thing for college athletics?
I had lunch with Diego Tuesday. He'd disagree with you on that.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Yeah. So
reality will hit hard.
So listen. It really doesn't matter what I'm for or against. It matters what the athletes are for or against, right? That being said, whether it's eligibility, whether it's academic standards, whether it's staying at a school for a certain amount of years, those things are all possible if you have collective bargaining. So if you want to cap eligibility based on age, based on a window of years, you get to play out your eligibility, whatever it is, you have to agree to it with the athletes. And believe it or not, a lot of these things, the athletes in the schools are very close. They're much athletes want transfer rules. They want continuity in their programs. Also, athletes want transfer rules because you know who the majority of the 4,000 athletes are in the transfer portal right now, fans? You know who they are? They're athletes who have been told by their coach, you'll never play a down at this school ever. That's who's in the portal. 10% of the portal is athletes testing the market for money. 90% of the portal is coaches using the portal to release spots and open them up for other athletes they can go get. So athletes want transfer rules. I think athletes would agree to eligibility rules. Athletes would agree to academic standards, right? But the only way that you can do is you got to get everybody in a room. And by the way, I don't just talk to athletes. I talk to leaders. I'm in rooms privately at this point, for the most part, with ADs, with commissioners, talking about all this because they're now looking at, man, we need to think about collective bargaining. That might be our only option. I have an SEC AD who's told me that 12 of the 16 SEC ADs want collective bargaining, right? So it is a growing desire. It's just how you get there and what risk is it to you as an AD when your president might have politics that are pressure from the state government.
For your organization, like how many members will you have if we get to that? Like, will you have a football only part, a men's basketball? Will it be broken down that way? Because when it comes to voting, if I'm a an SEC football player, do I really want water polo at Stanford having the same vote I do?
Yep, it's a great question. So when we built out our structure, our legal counsel is led by Jim Quinn, who's won every major case for the players against the leagues over the last 40 years. MLB free agency, NFL free agency 93. That's Jim Quinn. And so Jim, and then our board, which has former coaches like Jim Boeheim, former ADs like Sandy Barber of Penn State, but also MBPA, NFLPA. We all thought through this together, and we have chapters within athletes.org based on your sport and conference. And the real answer to your question will be a result of who wants to bargain with the athletes, because I don't think it's going to be every school. But if it was the 4 power conferences using this new entity they just launched that's going to do enforcement for the House settlement,
right?
They would all join an entity that's going to bargain with the players. The players wouldn't be bargaining directly with each school. The Atlanta Falcons players don't bargain with the Atlanta Falcons. They bargain with the NFL. It would be an entity that all of the schools who are going to bargain are a part of, and then that entity would negotiate with the athletes. And there would be issues that would be athletic department wide, such as scholarships, benefits, existence of a sport, travel for that sport, health and safety benefits. Those would apply to all athletes. How the revenue sharing is distributed. You got to, I think, get female athletes to agree to the male athletes that play football getting the majority, because then they'll understand their sport will still exist, right? So it's department-wide issues all the athletes vote on, but then there's football-only issues like concussion protocol or minimum salary or veterans bonus pool that motivates players to stay and not feel like some 5-star hotshot's going to take money from them by staying. All that stuff is football only, and the football chapter of players deals with that. So that's how we're built, and that's how it will go down. It's not, ADs, if you're listening, like it's not athletes negotiating with your school. That's not what this is.
So cliff notes on Nico, going back to him. He goes to a college football playoff last year. It looked like he was going to be the starter for a team that was in the mix to go back to a college football playoff and win double-digit games, make $2.5 million. Now they do this power play, and he might land at UCLA, a team that was 5-7 for less money. You are a guy that has dealt with a lot of these different scenarios. Your speculation on what happened with Nico and what went wrong?
Well, you get mixed information. I've talked to people close to the family, people who are prominent agents that don't officially represent him, but have had conversations with the family in an ongoing manner. And you hear that he didn't feel like the offense fit him, and he was looking maybe to see if some tweaks could be made. You obviously hear the compensation aspect and that he thought he could get more money. Ultimately, it's a disadvantage when you just have your father working on this and you don't have really one of the big agencies. Because what the big agencies can bring to this, what a Wasserman or a CAA can bring to this, is they can survey the market to really understand what your value is, to know you can go get it and use it as leverage to go get more from the school you're at. He didn't have that because it's his dad working on it. And so I think that created a conversation that started back in November of last year, all the way to this tipping point that happened last week where he decided he wanted to leave. But I think there was more to it than just money. I think it did have to do with the offense, and I think it's a disadvantage to not have a big agency when you're that big of a quarterback.
When you have the individual conference rules like the SEC, like Nico can't go into the SEC,
yep.
That's going to be challenged, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like the reality is that rule is an example of many of the other rules that just can't be enforced. Now, maybe the SEC would enforce it, and if they did, it would be the option of the athlete to sue. But yes, it's another example of an exposure that the conference in this case would have.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But it seems like every decision that is made now can be challenged.
Yeah, I mean, anything can be challenged.
And the only other thing I wanted to ask about was July 1st. I mean, because, we talk to different NILs, and they're like, we got to kind of tap the brakes because we don't know what's going to go down July 1st. So, like, in a nutshell, the cliff notes of that, what are we looking at? What ultimately happens?
Yeah, so the House settlement.
More chaos.
The House settlement, it is more chaos. The House settlement goes live, $20 million cap per school. It's pay for play disguised as NIL, unfortunately. So the contracts are going to say, hey, you do appearances for the school and you can't do NIL deals with these brands and stuff like that. But the coach is selling the athlete on, come here for $300,000 and play quarterback or whatever position. And so when the athlete doesn't maybe play well or pan out and the coach wants to replace that athlete, it's going to be really hard because it's not a performance contract with a base salary and then a bonus for playing a certain amount of plays and then a bonus for taking you to the CFP. like NFL deals are structured. So basically, it'd be like the Chiefs doing a State Farm type deal with Patrick Mahomes instead of a quarterback deal with Patrick Mahomes, right? And so that's how these deals will be structured. And the reason that's a problem is because there's going to be a lot of confused athletes when things don't work out and schools want to get out of a deal. And also athletes, when they play well, will go to the school and try to leverage it to get more and more and more. And there's only enough. And so that's the $20 million. Outside of the $20 million would be NIL deals that are real NIL deals. And there's a clearinghouse that's been created. And I mentioned this entity's been started. It's a private entity that the 4 power conferences are a part of. It has 10 board members that are all ADs. Guys like Ross Bjork at Ohio State is on that board. And they're using Deloitte to force every athlete that does an NIL deal outside of the $20 million of $600 or more to report the transaction. And then they'll evaluate if it's fair market value or not. Now, can you imagine a deal going through there and they say, that's not fair market value? That'd be like me saying, you got to sign up for a clearinghouse to sell your home. That's right. And if somebody wants to pay you over a certain amount and we don't think it's fair market value, you can't do it, right? It's not going to work. It's going to be more lawsuits. And so...
Yeah, fair market value is what you can get.
Exactly.
Right.
It's
Fair
America.
market value.
And that exposes really the problem in college athletics. You should read, Walter Byer's book, right? He led the NCAA and created this whole amateurism model. And then he got some conviction in his soul after he was done and wrote a whole book basically defeating everything he had done because... this special status of college sports doesn't fit with America. Listen to that example and think about it if you're a fan when you want to sell your home. And so what's going to happen is a lot of people just skirt around the system and not report, and collectives will try to still do deals on top of the $20 million to get over the cap. And it's going to be really interesting to see how they plan to regulate that. And of course, schools that have means with donors are going to really use that as the icing on the cake on top of the $20 million. And it's going to become a huge issue. And so what collectives are doing, and this is why you're seeing these deals inflate above maybe what market value is collectives are saying, just in case this does get regulated on July 1st, we're going to do a ton of collective deals until then. And we're going to just front load deals after deal. And they're doing it with basketball especially, right?
Yeah.
And then July 1st, we'll do the revenue sharing. And so basically you're going to have like twice as much money going to the athletes this year because of that. And then it's going to be interesting a year later to see if they still get the same amount of money for their individual deals. It's also going to be interesting for the 70 or so schools that fully fund $20 million. All of them are going to have to get the money from the university or donors because all of them spend all their money already. So imagine you're at Iowa State and you raise $20 million or the university gives it to you and you lose. You go 5-7 and you lose again. You go 4-8. At some point, are they going to say like, is this getting ROI? Are we going to keep doing the $20 million? Yeah, we're going to get there. So this is all a house of cards, just like it's been. I mean, we got an SEC coach who makes $13 million calling donors, asking for millions of dollars to get players so he can get a new contract.
Yeah, and the donors are tired.
They're tired.
Yeah.
They're tired.
Oh, there's no doubt they're tired.
They're tired of being called for money. Nobody's building new stuff anymore, though. That's at least the good thing.
That is. Bad for construction companies. They were cashing in.
The weight room that was 2 years old is going to have to hold on for another year.
All right, he is Jim Cavale. Athletes.org is the organization. Athletes.org. You can follow them on social media. It's linked right there in our social media at Jim Cavale as well. Thank you, Jim. Always good to see you, buddy.
Fascinating.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. Jim in studio with us. We appreciate his time. Don't forget the 15th annual Logan Martin Lake Fest and Boat Show presented by AmFirst is on the way May 9 through 11 to Logan Martin Lake in Pell City. Totally free. Bama's biggest in-water boat show. 80 boats and vehicles on display. Lake lifestyle vendors, food trucks, beer garden, live music all weekend. Tons of giveaways. You got that great fireworks show Friday night honoring our great United States veterans. Mermaids and Mateys Parade on Saturday. Free mimosas for Mom on Sunday. LoganMartinLakeFest.com for more info. LoganMartinLakeFest.com. And for the first time in the history of Lakefest, AmFirst giving 0.5% off interest rates that save you as much as $100 a month, maybe up to $12,000 over the life of the loan. See more at LoganMartinLakeFest.com.
Hey, and spring weather in full effect. You need to make sure that HVAC unit ready to keep up with this changing weather. Right now, $1,000 off new HVAC units from our friends at Hempo, plus 0% financing. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
Hey, you. Days warming up. Looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham. We got now.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The road to the Indy 500 runs through Birmingham, May 2nd through the 4th. The fastest IndyCar drivers in the world, O'Ward, Dixon, and Newgarden will put their skills to the test with one goal in mind: victory. Witness Miss America Abby Stockard give the most iconic command in all of racing as the Grand Marshal. May starts here. The Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix, powered by AmFirst. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours today.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Get back to Chad Baker-Mazara here in just a second after I remind you about our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg from Pell City. A guy who wants to keep a good, solid roof on top of your family. For most people, it's their most expensive, most valuable investment, their home. And Greg wants to make sure your roof is protecting the investment, the house, and the people underneath it. He'll get on top of that roof and give you a free no-cost roof inspection, A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. And again, a free roof inspection, 205-542-3531, 542-3531, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. Greg also has his builder's license. He can do some storm damage repairs for you, not just your roof, but any part of your home there. He'll take care of that for you. But roof replacements, storm repairs, and everything under one thing. And the best part about Greg, other than being locally owned and great customer service, nice guy, is he's really good friends with the insurance providers, and he understands insurance rules a lot. He can help you through a complicated process there. Go check him out. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531. And our friends at Lags, if you're looking for a place for lunch today, Lags over in Avondale, waking up the echoes of a great tradition.
Fantastic burgers. We've all had it. I've been twice now. I know Brown was there last week. Dunaway was there last week. Just fantastic burgers.
I may go again today.
You know what? We were there last week. We were sitting outside. It was me and Bo and Ush from the Pennant Grace sitting outside. And a couple tables over, I hear Mick Gillespie, like a video. And I'm like, that guy's watching Cover Crimson. So walk over. What? What are you laughing at?
Well, I'm laughing.
Oh, audience member, fan of the show. And he was there just because he had heard the commercial. He's like, I'm in the area, so I'm going to go over and eat at Lags.
So it was, a Homewood staple for years, located right there on Broadway next to Pick-a-Pack. We used to walk down there. Just one of the best burgers you'll ever have. They've got signature sandwiches like that bologna sandwich, great patio if the Braves are on during the day or even at night. They're going to have happy hour back there, cold beer. And here's another awesome thing about it. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late night. So starting tonight on Thursdays, they go till 2 a.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whether you're working a second or a third shift, you've always got food available right there at Lags Eatery. It's conveniently located in Avondale between Avondale Brewing and Cahaba, just a stone's throw away from Mom's Basement. Get in, see Eric, Justin, the fine folks there. Tell them the next round sent you.
All right. So Chad Baker-Mazara in the portal, that reports earlier today. It's mind-boggling to me. I've checked with a couple of folks. I would guarantee you he's making the NIL offer or agreement a lot more than he was making last year. Price of everything has gone up in basketball.
Yeah, he should get more than he got last year, in my opinion.
Absolutely was going to get more. A lot more. Maybe Janai Broom area more. Because the price of everything's gone up, right? Last year's roster for next year's roster, no matter if you're in Auburn, Tuscaloosa, wherever, you're having to pay twice as much. We just heard why. You're having to pay twice as much. So the money's there. Why do you risk it if you're Chad Baker-Mazara? Your legacy, what you've done at Auburn, being part of that great Final Four team, an SEC tournament championship team. How much more money could you possibly even get to risk this?
I do think it is different, though, for Chad Baker.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Brown brought this up to Cavale a minute ago when we were talking about athletes.org, and you've got these non-union representatives that are out there, and they're trying to make their monies in this 3 years because they know they can't represent at the next level. I think it's same for Chad Baker. Going on 26, he's never going to play in the NBA.
It's insane, though. It's insane.
I get it, but he's trying to grab his cash now because whatever he makes this year will probably be the most he will ever make in a season of basketball.
How much more money? How much more money do you think he's going to be able to get if he can even get?
Okay.
And I'm going to say this out loud so you can hear me.
Yep.
If he can even get what Auburn's offering.
Okay, but let me say this. To me and you, $500,000 is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
He might be able to get an extra $200,000, $300,000, $400,000.
I bet he can't.
Maybe not, but you got to remember this: with the roster turnover right now for Auburn, I don't know what Broom was making. It's got to be close to 7 figures, and I'm not saying he deserves even close to that. But there are going to be, if Pettiford leaves, there's going to be money that's going to be available.
I'm kind of with you. This does not make sense for him to leave Auburn other than the fact that he was told, I think your time at Auburn's up.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the case.
And the only way I think
you don't think that's the case.
I think it could be the case if he strong arms them.
Oh, I know.
That Josh Heupel Nico situation.
No, if you're saying they did not want him back on the team,
that's what I'm saying.
I do not believe that is.
I'm not saying I believe that that's the case, but I'm saying that's what this looks like.
No, I think
you don't think that's what this looks like.
I think there was a place on this Auburn roster for Chad Baker-Mazara. That is my belief. Yeah.
So you think this guy?
This is all about money. This is Chad Baker-Mazara saying.
Yeah, I think he's overplayed his hand. I agree with
You're giving me
this.
This is Nico in basketball.
Yep.
You're telling me I'm getting this much money. I want this much money. Well, we can't give you that much money. We can give you this much money, which is more than you made last year. I can give you this much money. And you're going to go and try to get this much money? Well, then go see if you can get that much money.
But you don't think he's going to get that much more?
I don't. Not enough to risk your legacy at Auburn.
Because
no.
I personally,
because you know how important it is, Brownie, with fan bases in college. If you let's say you get $400,000 more by going to the portal, and for one more year of playing basketball, you get an extra $400,000. To stay an Auburn Tiger and be beloved by that fan base is more valuable than $400,000 in your life. Than one time $400,000 from Arkansas or any other school, BYU, anybody that's willing to pay money.
Well, you can say that, but I don't know if a 25-year-old's going to hear that. And I do think in 10 years, I think people, regardless of how this situation plays out, I think they're still going to recognize Chad Baker-Mazara as a good component on that Final Four.
Let's bring in Auburn fan Scott Forrester. Do you feel different, Scott Forrester, about Chad Baker-Mazara at 10:44 Central Time than you did at 10:14 Central Time? Or when did the story break? 1 hour ago. At 9:44 Central Time, how did you feel about Chad Baker-Mazara? And at 10:44, how do you feel?
I thought for sure he'd be back. And, now I don't know.
No.
Yeah, but are you upset with him?
Did you love him at 9:44 and you dislike him now?
I don't know about love.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I was a little tired
of the I want a red card. I'm rolling around on the court.
I've grown a little tired.
But at 9:44, you wanted him back. At 10:44, you're sort of mad.
But we don't know the whole situation. We really don't. I mean, if Brown could be right on his, I lean with you. I think it was, okay, what were we playing Miles in Denver? And we were paying them $150, $200 each. I probably deserve that money. But give me a $300 bump.
I want to go back to something Lance said. He was a good component on a championship team. What you're not saying is he's a star.
But does he have star power?
I don't think he does. I think what you're going to find here is Chad Baker-Mazara was an exceptional role player. And one reason it worked is because his coach historically has been successful doing this, by the way, historically allows his players to be who they are.
100%.
He doesn't. Bruce Pearl's not a guy, and some coaches do this, and they're successful doing it. Bruce approaches it differently. He's not a guy that says, you got to come in and fit in a box. Stephen himself, the associate head coach, is like, you ought to come to one of our practices. He said, the quote, it's a damn circus in there.
Yeah.
I mean, they let their guys be who they are. Chad Baker-Mazara is not going to find that everywhere.
That's why he shouldn't leave.
I agree with you.
That's why he shouldn't leave.
Yeah, but I'll tell you who the biggest winner could be here could be Pettiford. Because I don't think Pettiford should come out. I mean, a lot of this is dependent upon his size, and that size is never going to change. But if Broom's gone, if Kelly's gone, if Jones is gone, if Cardwell's gone, and now Baker-Mazara's gone, and Pettiford's really the only contributor that's coming back, he's going to get a seven-figure deal.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. He'll cash right in. Now, your nightmare scenario is he gets good feedback and stays in the draft.
Now,
I would say this.
Now, I wonder if Chad Baker heard that. Like, he talked to Todd.
Yeah.
And he was like, I am staying in the draft. And so then he goes and he's like, I'm your only guy coming back.
That's right. You need me.
I would say first, Todd doesn't know what he's doing yet because May 11th through the 18th, the combine practices, and that's when he'll get a lot of feedback there. But I would assume Todd's going to come back. My opinion is that the money that is set aside for Tahad and set aside for Chad Baker-Mazara, that one bucket doesn't fill up another bucket, right? I'm going to need one bucket to go replace, Tahad if he stayed in the draft.
Yeah, but to Lance's point, without Tahad Pettiford, you've got a little more leverage in Chad Baker-Mazara's mind. He's thinking, I've got more leverage. They need me more now than ever.
Well, I think look, everybody probably overestimates their self-worth. And, I mean, the statistics are the statistics. I mean, I think everybody that watches the games like Pettiford is going to be a much better player. But Baker-Mazara averaged more points. More minutes. Obviously, he was a starter, so he probably sells himself like, I'm the biggest contributor coming back on this team. I should get the most money. I'm just playing it from that side.
Skill set wise, aren't there 100 Chad Baker-Mazaras in the portal?
I don't think so.
I don't know, man. I think he's really good.
I think he's better than you're selling him to be.
Yeah, I think if he had a different attitude and didn't have the The ability to completely blow up at any minute. Some of the side acts I think get a little old. If he was more, I don't know. I do think he's a really good player. Good player.
I think he was consistently the third best player on the floor every night.
Yep, I would agree with that.
And that second best player on the floor every night changed all the time.
Yeah, it could be Chaney Johnson. It could be Miles Kelly. It could be Denver Jones.
Shahad some nights.
Pettiford, It was always Jedi Broom 1.
It was always Jedi Broom 1, and I always felt Chad Baker was always third.
Okay.
But he was a consistent third.
Yeah.
And there's a place for that in basketball. And I don't think that's going to bring you the kind of money Auburn was going to offer you in the portal.
We were just talking about Scott Drew and Baylor, and you saw all the X's. We're 2 decisions away from that being closely resembling Auburn basketball.
No, you're right. The rebuild is on, as their graphic says. Every time they got a new recruit coming in, a new commitment,
it would be
they're rebuilding. But they're rebuilding. Yeah, it's a big changeover.
The top 7-minute guys would be gone.
But do you think he thinks I'll hit the portal, and if I don't get the kind of money I think I get, I mean, you've said it a million times, he'll make a ton in Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, not millions, but he's always got that fallback.
He's got options.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me. And I know I would take $100,000 right now would help me a lot. And I know $400,000, whatever extra he's going to get, if he stays in the portal and thinks he's going to get that somewhere else. I promise you, staying and not tainting your legacy at an SEC school pays more than that over the course of your life.
I don't know if it does.
It does.
The Nico thing, I don't get it at all, because if he really is going to play in the NFL, this is a fraction of what he's going to make. But for Chad Baker-Mazara, this is, and I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, but if he can get $400,000 and people think he's greedy, I don't think he really cares.
But in my belief.
But what's he going to get out of just being in good graces of Auburn fans? Are they going to? Are they going to give him handouts? Are they going to give him a house?
But I do think that there are times where, if Chad Baker-Mazara started a business, there'd be Auburn people who would go into business with him and things like that. A bigger value than an extra $400,000 or whatever it ended up being when it's all said and done. I've seen it happen over the course of forever in football and basketball in this state.
Hey, I'm Ryan Brown for Chad Baker-Mazara Ford.
I mean,
Ford. That's so kind of funny.
It would need to be something a little crazy or a little off-road probably for Chad Baker. Just surprised at the money grab that's going on from athletes, and I would put that in the category with Nico for me, and Chad Baker leaving his setup that he had down at Auburn. The show being brought to you in part today by our friends at Johnston RV. Brownie, tell us about Johnston RV. They love some basketball themselves.
They do, man. You can find them I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, always online at johnstonrvcenter.com. They've got price ranges for a lot of budgets there, as low as $127 a month with approved credit. You can get something there. They've got the toy haulers, the fifth wheels, the big motor homes. Tons of options there, and like I said, budgets for everyone. Listen, if you want some security, how about a lifetime warranty, RV warranty forever on anything that is qualifying pre-owned or new? JohnstonRVCenter.com. That's JohnstonRVCenter.com.
And our friends at New Life Art, if you're looking for great moments in Alabama football history, nobody's done it better over the years than Daniel A. Moore. DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com is where you find the collection. All those great pieces of work. That's just a snapshot of a bunch that you can find there. Relive them all, buy them all, and build yourself a little museum there. DanielMooreArt.com. Promo code TNR. Great gifts throughout the year, whether it's birthdays or the holidays when they roll back around after football season. DanielMooreArt.com. Promo code TNR. That includes the legend, head coach Nick Saban, the latest work from Daniel Moore. 6 national championships from the GOAT, Nick Saban. Celebrate that. DanielMooreArt.com. Promo code TNR. And Brownie, Bojangles brings us 4 downs.
They do. You no longer have to pick between sweet and savory at breakfast for a limited time. Right now at Bojangles, you can get that Cajun filet they're known for with that Bo-berry drizzle and 2 warm waffles on each side. It is for a limited time. At your local Bojangles, it's Bo time.
Why a limited time is all I want to know.
Ask Bojangles. I don't know.
First down.
This was a question that Tim asked yesterday on 10 with Tim on the Meltdown. What's a food you secretly love that you'd be embarrassed to admit that you love?
I don't know why it would be embarrassing. I got a buddy that loves Spam.
You know, I have never had Spam in my entire life.
It's not bad. It's big on Hawaii, really big in Hawaii. I told you it was in the McDonald's and stuff over there. For me, the gas station hot dog. You don't know this about me, Jeeves. Back in the day, late night we'd be out. I would go. Made Right was the brand. Minute and a half, 2 packs of mayonnaise on each. I thought they were fantastic, but I was never embarrassed by it. It's garbage.
No. I'm not embarrassed by it. It's an odd thing to like. But 2 things, and these both come in a can, so it's that's a weird thing, but it goes back to my childhood. Vienna sausages out of a can. Always liked Vienna sausages.
Do you think you'd like them now, though?
I don't know. And neither one of these things I've had in a very long time.
I just don't think I could get past that gelatin on the top.
It's weird. Ugh. And there used to be a thing called Red Devil roast beef spread.
Oh,
I remember the little Red Devil on the can.
It was a pop-top can.
And they had different flavors, right?
Yeah, they had the beef, they had the chicken.
Okay, I used to use the roast beef spread. That's all we had.
Because it was like in a can, but it had like a paper package around it.
Yeah, that's right. You rip the paper off, then you'd pop the top of the can
had
and
a
scrape
white,
it out.
a blue, and
There's a good-looking devil on the side.
There you go. Tyler's got it real quick.
He's dancing.
There's corned beef spread. We used to do the roast beef spread.
This is Texas Pete's nemesis, right?
I hate to tell you this, Brownie. I think that
has killed me.
Vienna sausage and that meat's the same. They just come in different
Probably.
forms.
I think we had deviled ham spread too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You know what I make that my wife hates that I make, so I only do it when she's gone, and this is so simple, and I don't know why I love it so much. Just get like ground chuck or ground round or something like that. Brown it. Put in a can of baked beans and some brown sugar and barbecue sauce and mix it all together. And just put it over bread and eat it. I love that.
Yeah,
my wife hates the way it smells.
You know, it's funny we talk about
used to call it S on a shingle.
Yes, yeah. SOS.
We talk about the shit that we eat now and how bad. Like we were talking about Doritos. Doritos in Canada and Doritos in the United States are different with this red whatever ingredient we were talking about it yesterday. Brown, what was that?
Red number 5, red dye or whatever. Yeah.
But you know, all of the stuff that is so bad now. I mean. Was this stuff good for us back in the day when we were eating deviled ham?
It didn't kill me at the time.
Slim Jims for me. I don't even know what kind of meat it is. I eat one every time I play golf. At some point on the course, I got 3 or 4 of them in the bag.
It's a beaver stick.
Yeah, whatever it is. I am addicted to the nitrates that are in it.
You know,
I've tried chomps to be healthier.
Right. No,
don't like
work.
them. They taste too meaty.
What about the turkey sticks? Is that chomps? Is that what that is?
Yeah. I've tried them.
What about the Jack Link's beef steak sticks?
Jack Link's 500 weekend.
I want to try that. Their 500 weekend is coming up. I'd like to try Jack Link's and compare it to the Slim Jim.
The Slim Jim has like this waxy consistency. I can't get past. It kind of leaves it on the roof of your mouth.
Got a casing on it.
Yeah, the casing is greasy.
Yeah, it does.
So you're not embarrassed to eat them though, right?
No, I eat them every time, but I would be embarrassed to say I enjoyed them and craved them.
Yeah, like I can see if you're like, I'm a Celine Dion fan, I really don't want to say it out loud, but I really enjoy her music. I don't know how somebody would get like embarrassed about what they eat.
Yeah, I don't really care.
So the answer I gave yesterday, which Tim said was good, was when I was getting school lunches in elementary school, sometimes they would make this spinach casserole. I loved it. I thought it was great, but if you're the kid at school who's like, I like spinach and broccoli.
Weirdo.
Like, that's the weird kid.
Yeah.
That is weird.
So that's what happened to you, Jeeves.
Too much spinach casserole.
You are the weird kid, though. It's no problem. We like that about you.
Second down.
14 years ago today, the show Game of Thrones premiered. Do you have a favorite character in Game of Thrones?
You know, the thing about Game of Thrones, probably the biggest ensemble cast for a successful show of all time. So you could go, and the character arcs. Like, I hated Jaime Lannister, and then I ended up loving Jaime Lannister.
Yep.
Tyrion was one of those guys you kind of like from beginning to end. Khaleesi you loved early, especially when she had the contract was different after the first season.
Right.
But then she got crazy. I'll tell you, a great character like the Viper. We talked about Pedro Pascal. Too small of a character to make him one of the favorites. But like King Joffrey was so good at his role. Like I read the other day that he couldn't get more roles acting because people believed he was that big of a dick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For a while, he struggled to even go outside and just live his life because people would approach him and think he's just as much of a dick in real life as he is on the
so
show.
Good though.
Like he's not just playing a pretend character.
Did you like Sir Braun of the Blackwater?
Sir Braun was great.
Oh,
yeah.
He was one of my favorites too. And he just was in 1923. Was one of the bad guys. Jerome Flynn is the actor's name.
The main character who ended up marrying Khaleesi at one
Jon
point.
Snow?
Jon Snow was my favorite. I loved him. I thought he was of good moral and good standing. And he was sort of the ethical guy throughout the whole
He's a
thing.
bastard child that can become kind of a moral compass.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very ironic, right?
Yeah, they definitely build him up as like an underdog you're supposed to root for throughout the show.
He was a hard guy to dislike. Now, I do think that was the jump the shark moment of Game of Thrones, though.
When he died?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Leave him dead, right? But if you haven't watched it by now,
He came back next
14
episode.
years ago.
Yeah, he was back. Okay.
Third down.
The rapper Redman turns 55 today. He's mainly known for his work with Method Man in movies like How High and some just random horror movies.
You don't have to explain it. We know who he is.
Okay, well,
I didn't have to Google that at
for
all.
anyone in the chat who might not know, what's your favorite movie that stars a rapper?
Well, first off, most movies with rappers in them are terrible movies. But I thought Boys in the Hood with Ice Cube was really good. 1991, John Singleton, his directorial debut that was up for Best Picture. Well, are we counting Will Smith as a rapper?
I would say no.
I'm going to need
I was gonna
to.
say I Am
Fine,
Legend
Brown,
if we went Will Smith as a rapper.
I'm
but
probably going to need to participate in this because I couldn't really find one I liked outside of.
You didn't like Friday?
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, you should watch Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
Friday, to me, Friday's a little overrated. And I like weed. It's overrated.
Yeah. I was going to go Will Smith as well, the one where he saves the world.
I Am Legend?
No, where he's the fighter pilot.
Oh, no.
my
Independence
gosh.
Day?
Independence Day?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's good.
I'll tell you what wasn't bad with Ice-T was
Man in Black. I like that.
New Jack City. Do you ever see that?
I did, yeah.
Men in Black was one of the more surprising movies I ever watched. It's very funny.
Yeah.
And Tommy Lee Jones is fantastic
Hilarious,
in it.
yeah.
And it's not at all what I thought it was going to be. That was a really surprise. I thought it was going to be more of a sci-fi type, but it's more of a comedy.
Yeah,
I think it's really done.
I thought it was
well
good,
done.
yeah.
I like Men in Black.
Fourth down.
Celebrity birthday, Jennifer Garner turns 53 today, and Victoria Beckham turns 51. Who's had the better career?
It's tough. Both married to big personalities, and Ben Affleck and David Beckham.
Does Beckham have more money than Affleck?
Beckham has,
Beckham's got a lot.
Beckham's still married. They're still married.
They're still
The other
married,
one is
yeah.
not. Jennifer Garner, that was short-lived.
Now,
right?
she's doing the Capital One. I don't think she's doing any acting really outside of that. To me, Victoria Beckham, though, was so iconic in England and probably worldwide with the Spice Girls. I probably would lean Victoria Beckham. Now, Jennifer Garner's won a Golden Globe for Alias. I never saw the show way back in the day.
Not close to me as Jennifer Garner.
Really?
Well, we're not talking about looks. You're talking about this career.
I'm just saying career. I mean, she's award-winning. She does, probably makes bank on the Capital One commercials. She's very good at that. She has started her own organization, nonprofits, where she feeds the hungry through farming and such. It just seems like a good person. I'm Jennifer Garner all the way. Team Jennifer.
I don't know a ton about the Spice Girls, so I'm going to go Jennifer Garner.
If you saw the Beckham documentary, which I thought was well done, Victoria Beckham's a big part of it. And she seems really, really cool.
Yeah.
For whatever that's worth.
That's Four Downs today, brought to you by our friends right there at Bojangles.
Yeah, for a limited time, you can go get that sweet and savory breakfast right now at Bojangles. Dunaway's going to petition our friends at Bojangles to keep it on the menu a little bit longer.
So good, keep it.
It is that Cajun chicken filet drizzle with a bowberry glaze sandwich between warm waffles. It's bow time.
And our friends at NASCAR, we're getting ready to go out there. Listen, campers will start arriving on Monday. It's a race week, Brownie. You can get your tickets and be part of the Talladega Super Speedway event. People watching, great racing going on. This is the only off weekend, by the way.
That's right.
Of the NASCAR circuit. And then they come back fresh for Talladega.
Man, they'll be fresh and fired up at Talladega. Coming up next weekend, 25th through 27th, at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com for tickets. It is the Jack Links 500 weekend. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. As Jim said, bye week. So they will be ready to get to racing, and you will be the one that benefits from that. It is a great show at Talladega. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. Jack Link's 500 Weekend, TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation state that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR, Talladega Superspeedway is ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to this track, you've got to come check it out. 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every turn. Don't miss the Jack Link's 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Superspeedway. It's April 25th through the 27th, and you can get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. That's TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
If you're looking to expand business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us. Send an email to sales@nextroundlive.com to be a part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platform. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, and reach the most desirable audience for your business. Get information and more by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation state that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. A lot to get to, including Chad Baker-Mazara in the portal, Lee Corso retiring, all the other news going on out there. At Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster, you can't beat the flavor you get in a meal that's cooked by Sterling and the crew down there. It's brined overnight fried chicken. So it's great Southern comfort food. You get down there on Highway 119 in Alabaster, and you can go with the two big breasts in the sides like I enjoy, or you can go with the hand-cut chicken fingers, or you can go with the po' boys, or you can go with the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, or you can sample it all. You get it right there. Highway 119 in Alabaster, champyschicken.com. All right, another story that's been big today that we haven't been able to get to. We only touched on it briefly in the first segment when it broke. Lee Corso walking away from the college game day set. And Brownie, I know people have been reacting in the chat room. Do you have a favorite Corso, I mean, as a running gig or bit or whatever, or a favorite headset moment you ever had? For me, it was always the Red River when he would fire the rifle. I think that's...
I remember watching it. I think the first time he did it, he didn't realize how loud they were going to be.
That's right. And he cussed as he did it, right?
And the rest of the crew, I don't think, realized how loud they were going to be. Like Herb Street jumped out of his skin. The funniest one, cussing, they were at Houston, and Carl Lewis is the guest picker. I don't remember.
When was this?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. It's years ago. I think Chris Fowler was still the host, as I remembered. I've seen the video before. But Carl Lewis is the guest picker. And Corso's trying to do something with, I think, like a megaphone or something, and it's not working. And he just takes it and throws it and says, blanket. I mean... And so then he goes on and makes his pick, and he puts the cougar head on, and Herb Street's opening the cougar mouth like, doing that right there to him. Their back and forth is what has always been fun to me, and I have found it very sweet late in Corso's career how Herb Street has often had to help him through that segment because there's like this father-son bond with those two. And that's been really cool to watch, too.
38 years. Did you have a favorite mascot head? He was always good with the Oregon Duck, it seemed like.
Yeah, nothing really jumps out.
I like it when he dresses up as the leprechaun and dances. But you like the segment, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I get the feeling you will not miss it, though.
I won't, just because it got painful to watch, much like, I hate to compare the two, but Muhammad Ali, who was getting drug around to different events and stuff. I mean, Lee Corso on that set, I know it's still important, but he was a shell of himself at the end.
He was. The difference I felt was like Muhammad Ali, it felt like they were doing it because they needed money, and that was sad. Corso, I feel like he's doing it because he just genuinely loves being at college football games.
Yeah. And they kept saying, as long as you want to be here, you can be here.
And
we don't care about your performance.
And I genuinely hope that's the case. I genuinely hope Lee Corso went to ESPN and said, guys, I need to hang it up. Can I do one more Saturday? And they're like, yes. I hope it wasn't him getting pushed out by ESPN. He's been too important of an institution. That show would not be where it is without Lee Corso. Well, it's the number one show on Saturday morning, and it's nowhere close to that without Lee Corso.
The only other thing I can think of that kind of compares is Dick Clark with the New Year's Countdown.
Yeah. Which he owned, by the way.
He did, but in his later years, he couldn't even really speak.
After
and it was
his stroke,
It was just really uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, he had a stroke and couldn't do it. But as you said, Brown, he owned it. So
it
was
his
making
call.
that call
That's
on
right.
whether to go out or not. Wrongly so, but some people are saying, well, Reese just got a big raise. Is this why Corso is shutting it down? That is not the case.
No, Reese got a big raise because that show's putting up some of the highest numbers it's ever put up. And
Fox wanted him. And
Fox wanted him in the competition. I mean, the field has never been more crowded. I mean, there are game day shows all over the place now. They used to be the only one, and their numbers have just continued to skyrocket.
Yeah, and I don't know this for a fact, but I believe as much as we know Reese, there's no way he would be involved in something like that.
No.
So
and that's really not how it. I don't think that's how it works.
No,
that's right. It's not one bucket to the other.
Not on a show like that. That show is a massive ratings winner and moneymaker for ESPN. Yeah. They don't go invest what they've invested in McAfee and Nick Saban and cut corners with what they're paying.
Yeah, you think back to the early days when it was Craig James, Chris Fowler, and Lee Corso. That budget was probably $1 million for the entire year.
They had no clue what they had.
And really, what is the budget now when you've got Saban and McAfee up there?
And you go back and rumor
Saban was making the same he was making coaching college.
That's what I've always heard.
Yeah, I mean, so what, $25 million maybe on that panel now?
McAfee, it's part of a broader deal, but they're paying him a boatload of money for the show he's doing right now and game day and everything else he does for them.
And they've had to pay Herb Street to keep him doing that.
Yeah.
It's blended into his deal of doing the prime time game.
You think $25 million?
I think this might be Herb Street's last year on that panel, though.
I get the feeling you're right.
So you think it'll be Reese, Desmond, McAfee, and Saban moving forward?
And
Feinbaum was talking like Saban was going to walk away. I don't see that.
No.
Four is the number for one of those desks. I mean, we've
it
got
does get crowded.
Way too many right now, and I just believe that with Kirk being able to do that primetime Saturday night game and then be able to turn around and do a Monday night game, and that keeps him close enough to the game.
Yeah, I think what we saw last year and maybe this year will be the last resemblance of our childhood or young adulthood college game day. I'm with Lance. And not just because of Corso.
Well, I mean, you've brought McAfee in, and McAfee's a polarizing guy, but he can be the next Corso. And I don't mean he's going to do the headgear and stuff like that. He's got his own shtick, but he's the entertainment of the show.
He is the shtick.
And Saban has been far better at it than I even thought he was going to be. Like, I thought Saban was going to be good at it. He has been exceptionally good at it.
But I would say what Feinbaum has said, once he is unplugged from being the football coach now, and has done 1 year of television, does he continue to realize, man, there's a lot of things I can do out here that I enjoy other than watching film and doing football
but
stuff.
I've always thought that's what he enjoyed.
Yeah, that's
watching film and doing football stuff.
You do enjoy it until you realize, okay, I did enjoy that, but now I also enjoy this and this and this.
But you can enjoy all that stuff 8 months a year.
Yeah.
Like, I had lunch with a friend the other day who got a buyout from his business that would have gotten him to the finish line, right? I mean, he's not that old. He's about my age. And he said, I didn't work for 4 months and realized I can't do that the rest of my life.
That's right.
So he's back working full-time now. I mean, he's got a big buyout. He's in great shape, but he's back to working full-time. And I looked at it and I was like, I don't think I would suffer from that same situation.
No, I don't think I would either.
I think there's plenty of golf to be played.
I do, yeah. I mean, look, you've got that to fill a void. But I think for Nick Saban, this is probably like a hobby that he just gets paid for.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think he'll be there a couple of years.
Yeah, we'll see how much longer he does it. Corso for one more show, week one, wherever they are, likely Texas, Ohio State in that opening weekend. A lot more to get to on the show today that's being brought to you by great folks like our friends at New York Butcher Shop. Tell us about New York Butcher Shop.
New York Butcher Shop, I was having the conversation yesterday. I had some clients up in studio, and we were talking about smash burgers, and I was like, the great thing is I go in there, Jim can have those smash burgers, like 5 or 6 balls, all spiced up with the great New York Butcher Shop ingredients in them. Then I just go smash them on the grill, and everybody says best burger in the world. New York Butcher Shop, the fresh meats from those smash burgers to the great steaks to ribs to chicken, the deli sandwiches you can get for lunch or dinner. It's a one-stop dinner shop, 2 locations, original Cahaba Heights, newest location 119 in Greystone. Get in and see Jim and the great staff. Rear quality, well-done service. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
And our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, UCA, they're great folks there that'll help you stay on top of your health, guys. Early detection, so important. 16 locations around our viewing area here in Central Alabama, 205-930-0920, 930-0920, urologycentersalabama.com. Prostate health, kidney stones, everything in between, vasectomies, if you get to that point in your life where you want to shut it down, they do it all right there. Professional, 35 urologists, 16 locations, Urology Centers of Alabama, 205-930-0920, urologycentersalabama.com. And let's do the spotlight right here as well, Tyler. When you're ready, hit the big button, and we'll talk a little college football with you.
The College Football Spotlight.
Shunnarah Spotlight presented by our guy, Alexander Shunnarah. When you find yourself in need for a trial attorney, Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys, you pay nothing unless they win your case, Shunnarah.com. Everything they cover, personal injury claims, fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' compensation, a host of other claims. You pay nothing unless they win your case, Shunnarah.com, Shunnarah.com.
Listen, all these people that have gone in the portal in the last few days since Wednesday. What's today?
Today is Thursday.
Oh, wow. It seems like it's been going on forever. We're approaching 1,000 people in the spring portal. Over 700 of them are in there. A lot of them not great football players.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard what Jim Cavale said from athletes.org, that 90% of these guys, rough estimate, are guys that coaches are pushing into the portal, telling them, you're never going to play here.
Yeah, so being pushed out. Some are looking for new deals. The only guy that's out there that really could move the needle right now for maybe an SEC contender is the edge rusher from North Carolina, Bo Atkinson. He's got visits to Ohio State and Georgia coming up. Off the edge from North Carolina, Bo Atkinson. But The Athletic did a study in the last 2 years of the major college programs they talked to. Most of them said any spring portal guy they picked up oftentimes ended up not being a contributor. It's a last, almost panic move, grasp at straws to fill a hole that you saw during spring football, and that you end up trying to grasp at somebody, hoping you can hit somebody to fill that hole, and oftentimes that's not the case.
Well, I don't know what's going on at Cal. It's a weird situation. They've got a lot of guys hitting the spring portal, primarily Jaden Ott. Now, a lot of Auburn fans point at their offensive coordinator and say that's why. I don't know that that's the case.
Yeah.
But
North Carolina's got a ton hitting. That's where Bo was.
Yeah. So, and you can kind of understand it with North Carolina, Jim. Like, when did Belichick get hired? January? So this is really, you've been in Belichick world for 3-4 months now, and you've probably either decided I can or can't cut it with this guy. So I can kind of understand that one. California is kind of weird, and Jaden Ott, to me, was so far the best player this spring portal. I don't think there's any doubt, right?
Yeah, I just don't know how much money Cal's got. I wouldn't think any.
Yeah, I
like
would
with
agree
their
with you on
travel
that.
and everything,
Yeah.
they're trying to balance out this athletic program. Like, how do we keep this certain sport?
But there again, you would have known that in the first portal, right? You'd have known I am not getting NIL money then.
Unless, we're seeing a lot of this because, like, there's a lot of things that aren't signed, a lot of things aren't on paper. We promised you X amount, but you don't get it. Then you're pissed off. Where's my money that you promised me? And then a lot of these guys are taking off.
Bo Atkinson's, according to ESPN, best guy available that's not committed in the portal. Next guy is Joe Cotton, offensive tackle, South Dakota. Next guy.
Sounds like a Texas offensive lineman.
It does, right? The next guy, third best available player, according to ESPN, still not committed, it's in the portal, is quarterback Gio Lopez of South Alabama.
Yeah, everybody's pointing towards North Carolina for him. But
yeah, so much so that Ryan Brown, different spelling than you, Ryan.
I know. He's got an E. Very British.
Has hit the portal. He was Purdue to North Carolina the first portal, and now he's in the portal again because everyone's saying Gio Lopez is going to South Alabama. I wonder why that hasn't been announced yet.
I don't know.
Could it be because Josh Heupel's interested in Gio Lopez?
Well, I mean, that is a change since anybody was thinking about hitting the portal. All of a sudden, a major college football starting job is open that may be already on the roster, the replacement. But
this is the dangerous thing about not getting the deal done, because if something untimely like Nico taking off, Tennessee's the better destination. So
North
if you're
Carolina,
Lopez, I would think that Lopez is probably with Mike Lombardi probably negotiating a deal. It hasn't been done yet, and now this other pops up, and now you've got another option.
What Lopez's side was praying for probably is Tennessee to reach out, so now I can play A versus B, and at least increase my money wherever I land.
By the way, I don't know if you guys like prequels or not, but in movie terms,
trying to think of one I've watched that I like.
Well, if you enjoyed Happy Gilmore, how about Hardly Gilmore, who was a Kentucky receiver who went to Nebraska, and now he's back at Kentucky again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so
six catches at Kentucky. Hardly Gilmore went to Nebraska, and Hardly was on campus a few months.
Right.
And now he's back at Kentucky.
Yeah. As a receiver, I'd get out of Kentucky if I were him, but, wherever he wants to go and be happy.
John Emery's in the portal again, former five-star injured running back from LSU.
Godfather 2 was a lot of prequel, but it was not entirely prequel, but I liked that part of it. Did you like that part of Godfather 2?
Yeah.
So that's the portal conversation today. In college basketball, we've talked about Chad Baker-Mazara. You can see our thoughts on our social media platforms, or go back and watch the last segment there. We had 3 announcements going to the NBA. All of them, I'm told, are keeping their option open to come back. Free the Knipple at Duke.
All right. The third Knipple?
Knipple.
Knipple ain't coming back.
Yeah.
He's a top 10 guy.
Yeah. Alex Condon, Florida.
Condon could come back. I didn't see enough consistency. Like, there is a skill set for a guy that is 6'11" that, you just can't really coach. I would think that Condon would come back, though.
Danny Wolf, Michigan.
Danny Wolf's gone. I mean, he's a legitimate 7-footer. He's 19 years old. Boy, his upside is crazy.
That's the basketball portal news or NBA destination. Florida added Princeton guard Xavion Lee, who is a 16.6 rebound, 5 assist guy, Ivy League Player of the Year. He's joining the national champions down there. Back to the NFL draft conversation in just a second after LT tells us about our friends at Michelson.
205-969-8100, the number you need to call if you wear the glasses or contacts. I'm speaking from experience. I was wasting money each and every year on the contacts and solution. You're doing the same if you're wearing them. Make the phone call that I made. Ask for Amy, 205-969-8100. She will hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have zero to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. Dr. Mark Michelson, the first to perform the LASIK procedure in the state of Alabama back in 1995. True pioneer, best in the business. 205-969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
We were talking about comparisons of some of the top draft picks to players who are playing or have played. Did you like the way Ashton Genty sent a message out on his social media platform yesterday saying that I'm basically coming to do for your franchise, whoever drafts me, what Saquon did for the Eagles? It's tackle football. It'd probably be smart for you to draft the guy that nobody can tackle. Thanks for your time.
You're not a big Genty guy, are you?
I am not.
Yeah,
why so?
I just don't think he's going to be as good at this level.
He's going to be, if he stays healthy, the best running back we've seen over the last 15 or 20 years, in my opinion.
15 or 20?
I think he is that good.
Better than Saquon.
I think he will be better than Saquon, can be better than Saquon.
The CBS comparison says he's a shorter Marshawn Lynch.
And that's one of the reasons a lot of people believe the Raiders, although people still believe Shedeur could be going to the Raiders, although Geno signed that 2-year deal, that Pete Carroll sees Marshawn Lynch in Ashton Genty, and he'll go that direction. I think you pair up Genty with Bowers, you're starting to build something.
Oh, I would agree with you. What do you still need?
Quarterback.
A quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, Geno's not bad. I mean, he's good for right now.
CBS compares the big Arizona receiver McMillan to T. Higgins. And
I've seen McMillan fall.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I've seen him fall to the back half of the first round.
T. Higgins would not be the most positive comparison. Good receiver, not top line
receiver. He's a
receiver.
number 2.
Yeah. And then there's Travis Hunter. And CBS says if you evaluate him just as a wide receiver, they put him in the category with Justin Jefferson. I don't think he's that good of a wide receiver.
No way. That's the top of the game.
Yeah, that's insane.
And they say if you evaluate him as a corner, he's Champ Bailey.
Okay.
I could see Champ Bailey, and I think he's more of a Deion Branch as a wide receiver. Now, this is a guy that won an MVP, a Super Bowl MVP back in the day with the New England Patriots. I think he's going to be a better cornerback, but I think he's going to get a lot of reps on both sides of the ball.
Does it feel like, for whatever reason, maybe it's just how we've attacked the shows this year, we've had less draft talk leading up to it? Is it because basketball has gotten better around here?
I think that's part of it. I also think this state, where we reside, is not going to be at the top of the draft the way Alabama has been and Auburn at times.
I mean, Alabama's going to have Booker and Campbell in the first round?
Probably so, unless somebody buys on Milroe.
Auburn won't have I don't even know the first guy that will go off of Auburn's roster.
Yeah.
Jarquez probably. Possibly second round.
More third or fourth round probably.
I was saying Auburn may not have a guy until day 3.
Yeah, so I do think there's a lot. I mean, when we used to have, Alabama could break the all-time record for a school first-round guys with 6. That was more of a conversation, but a little bit different now. But I do think basketball has taken a lot of that over.
I'll back up. Auburn may have a defender that is in the first round or early second.
Yeah.
Luther Burdenstock has dropped a lot. Didn't play well last year.
I think it started dropping during the season.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. His comparison is Deebo Samuel. I don't see that. Do you?
No, not nearly that physical.
By the way, I'm learning these comparisons at CBS.
Not great.
Not good.
Not great.
I'm trying to find who they compare Tyler Booker to. I have to get down to where they project Booker going.
I've seen him.
Here we go. Trey Smith. They compare him to Trey Smith. Just retired, right, Cowboy?
Yeah. I've seen Booker several drafts go to the Dolphins. I don't know where they've got him going right
They got him slotted 24th here.
Okay, I'll be a little lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to be back half of the first round.
I'm pulling for him at the Dolphins because he has told me tickets anytime I need them.
Well, you know, Booker's going to be one
huge.
of these guys, though, that general managers are really going to love the personality.
Oh, yeah, you sit down with the guy.
And then you start doing a deep dive on what he did during the transition of Saban to Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
And how he was a true Alabama guy.
Yeah,
and he's one of those guys, you know, if you sign them, you want them to play with your organization forever if they're very productive.
Yeah. So the draft 1 week from tonight, Cam Ward expected to go first overall to the Titans unless something shocking happens. All right. Odie's last night trivia, what was the question?
Do you think there's a guy like Incarnate Word, and right now he's a quarterback that's undersized, and people are like, in 5 years, you're going to be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft? I mean, that is an incredible ascension.
It really is.
For him.
Cam
wild
Ward,
story. That was Cam Ward, yeah.
Incarnate Word, Washington State, Miami. Was there?
Those were the 3 stops. I don't think there was another stop.
There wasn't another stop?
I don't think so. I'll look it up.
No, it was Incarnate Word, Washington State, Miami.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So the question, this kind of cat out of bag already because Jeeves threw it out on 4 downs, but what came first? Game of Thrones debuting on HBO or the death of Whitney Houston?
Somebody at Odie's last night was like, I've been standing back here for 15 minutes trying to figure out how those two are tied together. And we're like, oh, you don't get in that. You don't get in that brain.
They're not.
You don't get in that brain.
You said Game of Thrones was 14 years ago?
Yes,
Very
it
good.
premiered in 2011.
I'm going to say Whitney was 2009.
I thought it was 2010.
So Game of Thrones 2011, Whitney Houston died in 2012.
Wow.
Yeah.
That I mean, I know 2012 is now 13 years ago, but it seems like it was further back than that.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been
And
a
little
long
things
time.
you learn at Odie's Team Trivia. We do that every Wednesday night. The original location in Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. Either location, great food from Rodney Davis from the award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches like that Diablo sandwich, ice-cold beer buckets, full of the Bud Light, the huge Odie's Famous Cup cocktails. Stop in, see Will Haver and that great staff. It's a Birmingham institution. It's Odie's Tavern.
All right, when we come back, trash, and also you know you're having a bad week when you get injured in Target.
What
Right?
is Target?
The store.
Oh, the store. I thought when you said get injured in, I thought that was some sort of sport. I was like, what do we call Target? I thought that was a.
I thought of you
call it
yesterday,
Target,
by the way,
not
Dunaway.
archery?
This, and I showed it to Brown. It popped up on one of my things, but it
Oh,
was.
Scott's got video.
Oh, of the golf fight?
Yeah.
Okay, golf fight coming up
Okay.
as well. It's all next right here on TNR.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com. The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR is Talladega Super Speedway, and it's ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to the Talladega Super Speedway, you have to check it out. This beast is 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every single turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 25th through 27th. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Don't miss the action. TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Birmingham's fastest party returns to Barber Motorsports Park May 2nd through 4th. Medical Properties Trust presents the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix powered by AmFirst. Experience 3 days of high-speed action featuring the fastest drivers in the world from the IndyCar Series. Enjoy the Kids Zone, food trucks, beer garden, Ferris wheel, fan zone, and more. The Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix powered by AmFirst. Kids 15 and under get in free. Get your tickets now.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jalen Hurts, former Alabama-Oklahoma quarterback, Eagles Super Bowl winning quarterback, has made the Time 100 most influential people in the world.
Thought that was, I think the world of Jalen, that seems like...
Is there another story outside of winning a Super Bowl?
I mean, I think he's been inspirational to a lot of people, but 100?
Yeah. There's a handful of sports people on there. One of them is Serena Williams, the girl who started the Unrivaled, the basketball competition for women. She's down the list away, but Jalen Hurts is on there, and part of it is his community outreach, what he does for young people. Also, his agent is, I think it's an all-female run agency.
Yeah, I remember that.
That his representation. So Hurts made that list. Congratulations to
Belichick's
Jalen.
girlfriend make it?
She did
pretty
not.
Influential, Lance.
And then before LT tells us about Dr. B, Jose Miranda plays with the Twins, or he did, and over the weekend he had a stupid base running gaffe where he just ran through a stop sign, ran into a tag, and just stupid base running, and got sent down. He was off to a slow start. Got sent down to AAA. And it was an off day in AAA for the St. Paul Saints, just across the bridge from Minneapolis. He sustained an injury during the Saints off day Monday while shopping at Target. A case of water slipped from his grasp, and as he grabbed it before it hit the floor, a case of water, something popped in his hand, and he strained his hand, grabbing the big package of water that slipped, and as it was going, he grabbed it midair before it would hit the ground, and has injured his hand. And they're comparing this to some of the
Sammy Sosa and the who saw spiders.
Oh yeah, I got that here.
Jeff, you remember Jeff Kent hurt himself?
Yeah, washing his truck. The spider guy was played for the Cubs, and he fell through a table or something.
Yeah.
He had a very interesting name.
Yeah,
Good player.
God, I saw that somewhere.
I always the cynic in me comes out when these stories.
Yeah, well, I
And
mean,
I'm
Jeff Kent. There was a reason you were cynic with Jeff Kent.
But even like the Target water, I mean, was this kind of hot tub with 3 co-eds and getting out, he slipped.
Yeah,
had to catch himself. He's not going to tell us that story, is he?
There's water,
especially with his wife back home.
Yeah, I remember. I can't find the player's name now, but he woke up, was having a nightmare about spiders. Woke up and fell through a glass.
Glen Allen Hill.
That may have been it.
Glen Allen Hill. I think I just pulled
Hill.
it off memory.
Yeah,
I think that was it.
So Nicholas says, was it Sosa sneezed and hurt his back?
Yeah,
was that the story?
I thought he broke a rib or
something like that on a sneeze.
It was a sneeze. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Baseball injuries.
So Smoltz, as Smuff says, Smoltz burned himself ironing his own shirt.
Yeah, ironing his shirt while he's wearing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Wasn't it Dustin Johnson before one of the majors fell down some stairs or something?
Yeah, and hurt
Fell
himself.
up some stairs, I think.
Yeah, had WD before, right?
Oh, yeah. Fell downstairs and hurt himself moving a jet ski.
Yeah.
A lot of air quotes in all these.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest injury you guys have ever had?
Well, I've got 2 herniated discs in my neck, and they will occasionally seize up, and it's always the most random thing. Like I could push a Chevy Tahoe up the hill if I could actually do that. That'd be fine. You lean over to pick up a shampoo bottle, and your neck seizes up. There's no way of predicting what's going to cause it.
I think I've got a fractured or broken wrist right now, and I continue just to work out with it and do dumb things.
Wow.
But I broke this wrist riding a mechanical bull. I think I've told the story.
Okay.
And I went like 2 months and just went with it. And I finally, it just was so much pain. I went in and they were like, you got a broken wrist. I had to put a cast on it. Now I went to, this is so stupid. I went to the bowling alley with Jack, and all his buddies like to hit that bag with the pounds per pressure or whatever.
Yeah.
And I hit that son of a bitch, and I think I've broken my wrist. This is like 2 or 3 months ago.
And you're just not going to do anything about it?
You did that because Jack was really killing it, and you tried to beat Jack.
It pops nonstop, and that really, really hurts.
Yeah.
And it's been months.
Jace goes back to the old urban legend of Cal Ripken hurting himself punching Kevin Costner. And there's another step to that. There's a podcast out there, and I will never remember what it was called, but I listened to it. It kind of lost steam. But, do you guys remember that massive power outage they had at Camden Yards?
Yes.
Supposedly.
He went home.
He had to double back home, found Kevin Costner at his house, got in a huge fight, was going to miss a start and end the streak. And so they did a power outage so he would have time to get back to the stadium. Or the game might have got canceled. Something like that. That's the urban legend.
To keep the streak alive.
Here's what I don't understand about these, because I heard something about Ryan Sandberg's wife. Why would these people that have all this money, why wouldn't they just get a hotel room?
Because you could be seen in public.
Yeah.
At that point,
going into a hotel.
But your husband. You know where your husband's supposed to be. He's not going to be back home.
BP.
Boy, but I mean, seeing somebody come in or out of your house. I mean, I don't know. I find those things hard to believe.
Yeah. Dr. B bringing you part of the show today.
And why would Costner
want to
chase down somebody's wife? I mean, Kevin Costner could pick and choose.
I know.
Dr. B, best in the business. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training in genetic testing, to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. Make the phone call that I made, 205-319-0316. T3hair.net for more information. T3's got that new test. It's so easy, painless, affordable, takes 4 seconds to perform. Men and women ordering Hims, other products online, don't even know if they work. Stop wasting your money and critical time while you're losing your hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come to Dr. B. Find out what will work for you. 205-319-0316. Tell them the next round sent you.
Spencer Strider returned last night from a 2024 UCL tear. He had a good night. Slider was working. He became the fastest player in Major League Baseball history to 500 strikeouts. He did it in 334 innings pitched. 500 strikeouts, 334 innings pitched. But they lose last night 3-1 to Toronto. No run support. They're back home against Minnesota on Friday. Reaction to Strider being back with the pennant race coming up live at 12:15 Central Time today. Aaron Judge hit his first home run since April 4th.
Was that the day you were there?
It was not.
Oh, that's right. That was, you were in the Elite Eight. Yeah.
But that's his 7th of the year. He's only 1 out of the home run lead, so that's a fast start he got off to. Yankees sweep Kansas City. Yankees in Tampa Bay tonight, 6:05 on Prime. Kansas City and Detroit, 5:40 on FS1 if you want to watch some baseball. New York leads their division. Detroit leads their division. Some of the baseball that's out there. You can play all the plays at lanceslock.com. Show being brought to you by our friends at NASCAR. Brownie, before we get to trash.
TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. That's where you go to get your spot for the Jack Links 500 weekend. It is next weekend, April 25th, 26th, and 27th. Go witness it for yourself. If you've never been to Talladega, you are cheating yourself. It is an incredible day of action at the Talladega Superspeedway. Jack Links 500 weekend, April 25th through 27th. Book your spot now. TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Hit it, Tyler.
Now, if that's too much, 12 different appetizers to choose from. I'm a fried dickle pickle man. I'm a fried dill pickle man.
LT's Trash is presented by Bud Light.
Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
We start first with a Spanish soccer club. Leganes has joined the fight against testicular cancer by planning to wear attention-grabbing shorts for its upcoming game against Barcelona.
I can't wait to see
Are they
these.
tight? They got to be tight.
Yeah, their shorts will bear a special logo right in the crotch of the two spheres, joined by a cancer awareness bow and encircled by Testicular Cancer Society.
Boy, that cancer awareness bow is interesting.
Yeah.
Is that a poke bowl that...
It is. Urban Poke is one of their sponsors there, yeah.
I love me a good poke bowl.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you... this guy right here is like, hey, I'll do it real quick, but give me a second.
Now, the public awareness campaign in support of Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, announced by Madrid-based club on Thursday, is called Tenemos un par. That translates to "we have a pair." Leganes hosts Barcelona on Saturday. Testicular Cancer Society says it's the most common form of cancer of men aged 15 to 35, encourages regular self-examination. I know a bunch of people that have had testicular cancer.
Oh, yeah. Very...
UCA, man, got to stay on top of it.
A lot of cyclops out there in our society.
Yep. Urology Centers of Alabama helps you out here. And Jose, let me get a little blood in it right there, posing for the picture.
Do you think he like watched over the photo editing process? It's like, no. Expand that area. Drag that out a little more.
Not this one. Not that one. That one. Perfect.
Add a shadow if you don't mind.
I mean,
That's the best thing.
I mean, he could have taped a summer sausage to his leg, too.
Done that, too.
Could have really gone over the top. A woman who moved to Florida for a fresh start says she instead walked into a nightmare after discovering the man she rented a home from didn't actually own the property.
Well, I tell you what, that guy right there is
sinister. He is sinister.
He's a hard-looking dude, isn't he?
I don't know if I'd want to rent from that guy.
No, you got that jawline plus that hair.
Who's the Andy Warhol chick that plays soccer?
Oh, Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah, Rapinoe and Ray Liotta had a kid.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, that nailed it. That is absolutely
He just
it.
Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
Has he had a tracheotomy before?
That's a good question, Jim. That is a rather deep hole.
He could smoke a heater out of that thing. Now, Amanda Goodson and her daughter relocated from Ohio in February after finding what seemed like the perfect rental home on Mandy Street. Said the listing on Facebook appeared legitimate. Popular realtor posted it, told her to reach out to the homeowner, Clinton Roser. Quote, he had great reviews. People were saying he was amazing, according to Goodson. But about a month into their lease, two young women showed up at the home and asked her what she was doing in their dead grandfather's house.
Oh.
That's when Goodson learned the man who rented her the home had no legal right to do so. Quote, I was stunned, I was hurt, mad, embarrassed, all in one. It was very deceiving, end quote. Now, according to the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office neighbor, Clinton Roser, that dude had been falsely claiming ownership of the property. Deputies say he had been paying the property taxes and renting out the home despite not having any legal ownership or rights to do so whatever. Now, the actual owners, out-of-state family members of the deceased homeowner, were unaware until they visited the property themselves. Goodson say she and her daughter were forced to move, losing their security deposit and all the money they had saved for their relocation. Went on to say it was probably close to $7,500. Now we're having to live check to check. Roser was arrested Friday, now facing a felony charge of property fraud for the amount of between $20,000 and $50,000.
I mean, he took over paying the property tax and all that.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
savvy.
Hey, Jace with another good one. James Carville and Rosie O'Donnell had a baby.
I see Carville.
Yeah, I see James
I don't
Carville.
know where the Rosie O'Donnell is
I think
from.
it's the forehead and the hair.
He's got James Carville's mouth.
Yep. There's some James. I think the eye's in the mouth for James Carville.
So we've got urine back in trash today.
Again? Tyler, what are you doing here? Why do we keep going?
You know, I'm told to find the weirdest news stories of the day.
You do it. You do a great job.
Jeeves, if you've got a fetish, we're not going to pile on. Whatever pops up in your algorithms pops up.
Another urine story.
Now, the OnlyFans model who was recently arrested for, quote, spraying her urine on more than $1,500 worth of merchandise at a New Hampshire grocery store has been hit with 5 more criminal counts for the alleged pee spree. Now, in a series of criminal mischief complaints filed on April 14th, Kelly Tedford, 24, that you see right there, she has been accused of damaging an assortment of items at a Marriott in Keene in January. Now, is that her on the right as well, or is that her AI?
I was going to say
pictures are her.
Yeah, this would be true of a lot of us, but her mugshot and her OnlyFans thing don't look at all alike. No, they're not the same person.
Not at all.
Now, that's going to be true of a lot of people. Your mugshot and your OnlyFans profile are probably not going to match.
Dude, her eyes are just, like, I don't know what she's done with them. I mean, obviously the lashes, but did she put some kind of contact in to make her look like she's got, like, cat eyes or something?
Well,
that's the light ring.
The light ring.
The light ring reflecting
the light.
Yeah.
But how did she get rid of her cheeks? That's got to be photoshopped, right?
I would think so.
Filters yet.
Yeah.
I mean, she got rid of everything, pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe she looks cartoonish, AI-ish
kind of
on the right.
Yep.
Now, investigators allege that Tedford, who used the handle Kinky Kelly with an I on OnlyFans, urinated into a hotel room's air conditioner unit and relieved on herself on a comforter blanket.
This girl.
Curtains and brown, believe it or not, a Bible.
No, she peed on a Bible?
She is also charged with defecating on the floor, placing the waste into the toilet tank, a frat boy favorite known as the upper decker.
Yes.
We got some weirdos out there. At the same time, the new misdemeanor counts were being filed. Tedford was named in an indictment charging her own with felony criminal mischief for allegedly contaminating items at a food co-op in Keene. Yes. Tedford's alleged targeting of the grocery store in February resulted in the business suffering a loss in excess of $1,500. Investigators contend that Tedford recorded her vile antics for her $15 a month OnlyFans page.
See, I never, ever, ever, I don't care the quality. I don't care the quality of the hotel room I'm staying in. Whether it's the best of the hotels I've ever stayed in or the one in Newark.
You don't trust it?
I will never, ever, ever, ever use the in-room coffee maker because of people like her.
But you could use it like Brown uses it.
Yeah, I just use it for the smell. I don't drink it, though.
But I would never drink it because my wife has told me before on trips, I'm like, hey, I'm going to run down. Do you want me to get you a coffee, too? What do you want?
Okay.
Down? She's like, we've got a coffee maker. If you're just going to coffee, we'll make it in the room. I'm like, no.
Weird thing I do in a hotel.
We're not going to do it.
Weird thing I do. I have many weird things I do in a hotel, but this is one that I bet y'all are going to say, Brown, you're overthinking this, but I can't do it any other way. All right, when you're at home, you brush your teeth, you're done brushing your teeth. What's your next step? Yeah, I mean, you've just finished brushing your teeth. Now your mouth is full of toothpaste. What do you do next?
I spit.
You put water in it,
right?
yeah.
But how do you get the water in there? Do you lean down under the faucet and drink it?
At home, I do.
At home? You don't do that at home?
No. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
You put your mouth. I
mean, you didn't have running water growing up, so yours is probably different.
No, I did. I do this. I cup it.
No, I don't cup it. I lean down under the faucet.
Yeah, I lean
like a
down.
school faucet.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is your fear with a hotel lean
I don't
down?
know that it's as clean as my wife keeps the faucets at the house.
It's not.
I know it's not. But this is so dumb because the water's running right through that. But I go
You get the cup.
get a cup,
Yeah.
and I fill that up and I drink it out of the cup.
Yeah.
Well, they normally have at hotels, they normally have like a little stack of plastic cups.
Yeah, that's what I use.
Well, we've got a cup to do that in our bathroom. That's part of the toothpaste area in our bathroom. Maggie's in mine, but I usually don't use it. I just
More
cup
so,
it
do you
real
worry
quick.
about leaving your toothbrush out where the maid can like rub it up her ass or whatever?
Nope, I never do that. I always put that back in the toothpaste.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
There's weird. This chick defecated on a Bible.
I put it back in my bag. I really do.
So you know the Rocket, the commercial we're cleaning up. How many memberships or how many different fees do you have a month? Can you imagine if they were looking and they were like, Kinky Kelly, $15 a month?
Yeah, you probably could get rid of that. Why did you drop Peacock?
What does Kinky Kelly
do? You think the majority of OnlyFans subscribers have more than one chick they subscribe to?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, LT. I mean, if you do one, then you're going to get tired of Kinky Kelly. I mean, how many hotel rooms can she pee
I know, that's
I
right.
think there's probably a good mix between people like sampling a wide variety and then people who are like super dedicated to one person.
And I would imagine at some point, has anybody ever done one of these that you want to admit? I would imagine if you try to not pay Kinky Kelly anymore, you want to get off of her site, does she like DM you and make you feel bad? Like, Jim, why are you leaving?
I guarantee she lost somebody with the Bible stunt. Hey, look, you just gone a
yeah.
little too far, Kinky
I'll
Kelly.
watch you pee on produce.
That's right.
But the good Lord's word, negative.
You've gone a little too far.
Now, the Mexican flag, yes, but now, no way.
I mean, the red flag is $15 a month, right? Like, I don't know what these girls would charge, but
I mean,
if a girl's not getting $100 a month, I mean, something's wrong.
What? I mean, so there are $100
I don't
people?
know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I would assume, like, so Dre DiMatteo, the chick that played Adriana in The Sopranos.
Yeah, she was dead broke, wasn't she? Yeah.
I would think from diehard Sopranos fans that have got a little freak in them, they probably would give her a lot more than $15 a month.
But what do I pay for Peacock and the streaming services?
About that. Why do you pay for it?
No,
or what?
how much? I mean, I pay about $9. I don't pay $100.
9 to 15.
I think YouTube TV is the most, and I think it's like $50 a month, maybe.
It's just going up. It's 85 now.
It's 85.
85.
Sons of bitches.
I think
you know what's
everything goes
happened? This is backloaded for Sunday Ticket. Like, we thought we were getting a great deal, and we got it away from DirecTV, and this, I guarantee you it's the influence of Sunday Ticket.
My YouTube TV is now what my DirecTV streaming was when I switched to YouTube TV. And the only reason I'm not going back to DirecTV streaming right now is the quad box.
Here's the thing.
Quad box is good.
Here's the thing that YouTube TV did, and I fell for it hook, line, and sinker, and I look back on it now. Lance is absolutely right. They gave you one price for Sunday Ticket if you were a YouTube TV subscriber, and one price just to get it on YouTube, right? And it was like, I think, $120 difference. So I start doing the math, and I'm like, well, crap. I may as well just go YouTube TV. It's much cheaper than DirecTV Stream, and I'm going to save $120 on Sunday Ticket. And then what do? They jack that price up to take that $120 away. They hooked me right in. I fell for it. And I don't dislike YouTube TV. It's fine.
No, I think it's fine.
But DirecTV Stream was just the same.
What were you paying for DirecTV Stream last? Was it about $90?
Probably about the same.
See, I never played for the Stream, but where they got me was the additional boxes, which is such a joke. But I did like, and maybe I was just so used to DirecTV, the model of it. Outside of the quad box. Yeah. The quad box is
YouTube TV's been just fine. I have no complaints with it whatsoever.
Me too.
Where are you guys on Mr. Beast?
My daughter is always telling me nice stuff he did. Like he apparently fed a bunch of kids in Africa the other day. So I don't have a problem with Mr. Beast. I think he's a generous guy.
Doesn't impact my life a lot, but it seems like he's giving away a lot of money.
Jeeves, you heard my the rabbit hole I got into with him being maybe the Antichrist. I mean, do you think that's a possibility?
Until she pees on him, I'm going to say he's not.
I mean, sure, it's a possibility, but I don't know.
So you guys remember the Fyre Fest, right?
I do.
Yep.
So it looks like Mr. Beast might be a little bit heading down that path. We had the Mr. Beast experience, $1,000 dud. Didn't even have a fun ball pit to play in. Now, according to The Independent, fans forked over $1,000 apiece to attend Las Vegas's The Mr. Beast Experience, which was advertised as a, quote, unforgettable weekend, including meet and greets, exclusive merch, mini games, and a $10,000 voucher for one surprise guest and a 3-night stay at the Resorts World Hotel in Las Vegas. We've stayed at that place. Pretty nice.
Oh, yeah, it was very nice. 2 towers.
Now, I went on to say that it sounds like fans got more out of the hotel room than they ever wanted in the first place. Quote, I was told to wait in my room for 2 days for a package to come, so I legit spent 2 days in my room for a package to come, and it was a box of chocolates, one attendee told the outlet.
Hey, they're good, though. His chocolate is good, and my daughter was like, Mr. Beast says it's better than Hershey. I'm like, well, Mr. Beast is going to say that?
Yeah. He's probably got more money than Hershey's now.
His name is on the package, but it is very good.
Now, there was a merch included as well, hardly the exclusive gifts that Mr. Beast, real name Jimmy Donaldson, had promised. It had kid shorts, an extra small shirt, hat, medium shirt. They went on to say if you go to Mr. Beast's store to their merchandise right now, all this stuff is on clearance for $9. We were told we'd get exclusive merch. Obviously, that's not the case. Mr. Beast himself, as you probably already guessed by this point, never showed up.
Oh, no.
Broadcast from Las Vegas 8 News Now shows a group of disgruntled fans taking their grievances all the way to the resort CEO. They went on to say, quote, when I go to the Tom Brady experience in Boston, Tom Brady's there.
That's you would think so.
Now, these kids, these adults, these influencers, they wanted to see Jimmy. Guest also complained on the high prices in the resort. One frustrated guest claimed she spent $63 on a cocktail, and the hotel's $50 compensation voucher would only be enough for a single drink. Mr. Beast did respond to the lack of experience on X, writing, quote, this definitely isn't the experience we had hoped they'd deliver. My team's already on it. I'd love to personally make it up to you and anyone else by inviting everybody affected to tour to my actual studio. Can't wait to meet you all, and my team is reaching out to everyone. I'm sure he'll make this right. He'll make another buck off of it.
Yeah, that's right. The rebound will make him a ton of money on it.
That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And LT, our friends at Hemp Hill, with that spring checkup here. One more thing before the show's over with, involving Auburn athletics and a lot of money.
Yeah, $1,000 off new HVAC units right now, plus 0% financing from our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Hard to shop at Train. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Call them today. Tell them the next round sent you, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
This is something Texas A&M announced for more money than this last month, but now Auburn is part of the Play Fly Sports family. They were already a small part of that, but now they're all in for a 10-year deal that will bring in an extra $23 million a year in their broadcast fees and rights and the ability to help with their NIL and stuff. So an extra $23 million a year for the next decade, upping their broadcast rights and all of this other stuff to $34 million a year that Auburn is guaranteed from Play Fly Sports.
That's weird, because how much per year do you need in that house settlement? About 20?
About 20, 23 would do it.
Yeah, that'd do it. Cover it, right?
Yep. I feel like it was $50 million for Texas A&M, if I remember the story right.
It was big, yeah.
I think it was a 10-year, $510 million deal. This is a 10-year, $340 million deal for Auburn, but it's big money. I still am not up to speed on how it's all going to work. But at one time they were Learfield, right?
They were.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what is next in that.
I think they
in that realm.
I may be wrong about that.
I think they were.
Playfly's been with them a while, though.
Yeah.
Hey, Kalen DeBoer on the show tomorrow at 9:30, by the way.
Kalen DeBoer on the show tomorrow at 9:30, talking Alabama football.
Actually, we were going to talk geopolitical unrest with him, but if you guys want to go Alabama football.
Let's keep it simple. We'll go Alabama football. Kalen DeBoer tomorrow at 9:30, or wherever you get our podcast, which includes Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and Google Podcasts. And we ask you to like, subscribe, and please turn on your automatic downloads. That helps us out tremendously. You guys are always asking, what helps you guys out? Going to Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and Google Podcasts and turning on your automatic downloads.
Huge.
That helps us out tremendously. All right, until next time, God bless you and God bless America. All new Meltdown at 2, before that at 12:15, and all new Pennant Grace. Stay with us.